Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close, I can taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I
it.
don't think I've ever said this before.
All right, so I'm going to tell you a story today about a cherry blossom study that they did in 2013 on how grandparents pass down fear to their kids, how grandparents, through a study on mouse, they're going through this is a ridiculous study that everybody needs to know about because you and I as parents, we need to be aware of this. But before we get into that, let me tell you a few things that we got going on. There's a lot of stories. The stories we have, we may need the full 2.5 hours today to go through it, although we're probably not going to go that long. One, we have a flu virus that's spreading in the Norway's World Cup team. Everybody's panicking. Number two, Marco Rubio is working on things to allow pictures to be taken for your passport online, no longer needing to go to CVS or Walgreens or UPS. Some people say it's good. Some people say it's not good. Another story is the FBI is investigating Argentina's Football Association for alleged money laundering, wire fraud, and tax evasion, which is kind of crazy that they're doing that. That story's everywhere. Everyone wants to know what the hell is going on with that. Of course, Argentina advanced, beating Egypt, scoring those 3 goals in a span of 16 minutes, which was crazy. And then today, I think France is playing Morocco today, which, by the way, Morocco is nobody to mess with. I'm a Morocco guy. I think they're good, although I think France should take it. Planned Parenthood in California, a mess. The funding stopped. They're not getting any of the stories. They're not getting any of the money. Lots of people complaining. Some people are happy. We'll talk about that. H-1B visa fraud investigation, which has to do there's a story out there saying Microsoft is laying off 4,800 people, yet hiring H-1B visas. Like, wait a minute. Why are you getting jobs away from American workers with a new CEO, and then you're going to give it to somebody else on H-1B? We'll address that as well. There's a story that came out, which is kind of weird in California, asking for Californians to teach black English. Let me say this one more time. Activists are asking California to teach black English, being pushed to kids in preschools.
You tripping.
Tell me that.
You tripping on me.
You tripping, boo. You know what movie that's from? You tripping, boo. You got me straight tripping, boo.
Wait.
No, you got me straight, man, what is that movie with? I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Don't be a menace.
No, it's a different one.
No, I know.
It's not the other one.
Was it with Tyrese?
No.
Okay.
This is not
Shit,
like that.
blood. You don't want to communicate with me?
No. It's a different one. Tom, just be careful, Tom, before you say
Tom's
anything.
about to set trip.
And by the way, this story is a very weird story. Mbappe, Senator of Paraguay, comes out and calls out Mbappe, says, instead of drinking breast milk, he grew up on sucking on coconuts. The most educated creatures he ever heard of were chimpanzees.
Wait, she said that.
This is the senator from Paraguay. And then Mbappe had to respond back to her saying, what the hell is your problem? You just took all the light away from the Paraguay and how great they played, and you put all the... And then she's like, yeah, this is how we talk in my country. It's very normal for us to, call somebody a black piece of you-know-what. Was very common. This is a senator from Paraguay, which is interesting. We'll address that. Then we got a couple other things. We have to talk about the ceasefire. Cristiano Ronaldo's exit, his final words when he exited, losing the World Cup. This is it for him, done. And he said some things. By the way, Gavin Newsom's camp responded to our podcast, and they retweeted one of the videos from our podcast when the story about the wire, why somebody was wired on an insider.
Yes.
This would never happen. This didn't happen. This is not true. That case wasn't under us. She wasn't working with us. They had to explain themselves, which like a novel of explaining.
It was not in my circle of influence,
Yeah.
and took 2 paragraphs to say that.
Yeah.
Well, Gavin Newsom now threatens to arrest anyone who tries to clean up California's disastrous election system. That's what they're saying. That's California for you. And then we got another story of Erdoğan. Everything I've ever asked him for, he's done. Erdoğan takes the stage as NATO's Trump whisperer. European cars. You ready? In European cars, cameras are watching you while you're driving, making sure you're not falling asleep. So they're monitoring everything you're doing, European. They're saying that's a good thing that they're doing. Maybe we can have the debate. You may agree, you may not agree. Florida GOP called us out. Florida GOP called us out and says all these people that are trying to hold debates out of the proper way of doing it, just for publicity. I'm like, who the hell are you to talk like this? People, voters want, no, our focus is general election. Conservatives need to get a debate. And they want to know what's going on. And so maybe somebody needs to fund an independent pollster that people respect to say, where are these candidates actually at in the state of Florida? Let's get a debate. And DeSantis agreed. And he even said something about it yesterday. I don't appreciate what happened. I did respond back directly to the chairman of Florida GOP, and then he DM'd me back. We went back and forth, which we'll talk about here maybe sometime at the end. Graham Plattner, eventually everybody stepped away from him. Bernie Sanders, everybody that endorsed him stepped away, including Rokana and others. We'll get into that. He gave an 11-minute video yesterday, which he said nothing. New York schools, by the way, accused of targeting teachers who blew the whistle on grade inflation. What? Yes, grade inflation. We watched Young Washington yesterday, the movie. It opened with $19 million. And the entire car ride back, it was about the main actor. You know, we're talking about, which is different thing. We don't need to bring that up, but they're just different things we talked about. And then The View, Sunny Hostin came out, and she said she gets uncomfortable when she goes into communities and she sees American flags. Do you not get nervous when you go into communities seeing American flag? That's what Sunny said.
Did you know there's a new scary movie, a horror movie coming out?
What's
and it's
it
just
called?
called Flag.
Flag.
And it's like in the house, and it's coming to get your whole family.
One letter away from being
I
very
know,
offensive.
which
I'm just telling
it could
you.
be. That could be its
American
own scary movie.
flag like American. You know what I'm saying? They can't do stuff like that. That's offensive.
Yes.
And so, anyways, all right. So you got some of those stories we'll get into, and a few other surprise ones that we'll get into. But let me tell you this story. Let me tell you this story. It's one of the best stories. Parents, this is very important for you and I to think about. There's a reason why I keep talking about the future looks bright. In 2013, they did a study at Emory University. A guy named Brian Diaz and Kerry Ressler did a study identifying to see if we pass our fears down to our kids without us even knowing about it. So they took a group of male mice and they gave it acetophenone, and every time, this is cherry blossom, smell. Every time they released this smell, they would zap them with this pain. Like, whoa, what was that? 5 minutes later, they released that smell again. Zap them again. The pain. Whoa. 5 minutes again. And they kept doing this with only male mice they were experimenting on. Eventually, they did this for a few days, maybe a week, week and a half. Then they took those same mice that now have tied fear to acetophenone, the smell, cherry blossom. Then they put it in a room for them to mate with female mice.
Okay.
So then they mate.
Okay.
So these guys now have kids. Okay. Then they take the mice, the male mice, the father away from the baby.
Okay.
Then they take the babies and they put other female mice and they mate.
Okay.
Then they put the grandkids in a complete different thing. So you're with me so far.
I got you.
Yep.
The grandfather fears the smell of acetophenone.
And he got zapped.
He got zapped every time. Then his kids and then his grandkids. The grandkids have never met grandfather before.
Got you.
They put him in a place, and all of a sudden, they sprayed the cherry blossom. These grandkids were frightened because that fear from the grandfather had passed down to the grandkids.
Genetically,
And they've never been zapped.
And they've never been zapped.
Holy wow.
So what does this mean? Yesterday, we're at the beach, and I'm watching how happy Brooklyn is. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, you're running all these issues in your mind. You're trying to solve all these problems. You're kind of overwhelmed with all this stuff that's going on. And I'm looking at her, and she's just happy. Mm-hmm. She's happy playing in the sand. She's happy running around. Daddy, take me in the water. It's cold. No, don't put me in the water. Daddy, take me. And then you start realizing we are all born with believing the future looks bright. But if we're not too careful, we can pass down that fear to our own kids that can pass it down to their grandkids. When people say, why do you believe the future looks bright? I just do. I believe the future looks bright at the highest level. By the way, for some of you guys that are watching this hat was just released this morning at 9 a.m. This golden future looks bright hat. There's not a big supply of it. It was officially released early this morning on vtmerch.com. Humberto, if you can go to the website, vtmerch.com, with these hats. We don't have a big supply of them. A big chunk of them are going to be at the Vault Conference for attendees that are going. The new arrival gold standard hat, if you can click on that and go to it, these hats look ridiculous. The Future Looks Bright hat.
Love that hat.
$35, go get it because these will go in no time. Get one for yourself, get one for your team, get one for your family, especially those of you like me that like to walk around and share the energy of Future Looks Bright. We want 1 million people around the world sharing this mindset with others. If you haven't yet bought these will go in no time. Future looks bright. Golden Hat is here. Go to vtmerch.com. Place your order. With that being said, let's get right into it. Yesterday, the president is sitting with Erdoğan. Erdogan's not a fan of Bibi. Turkey and Israel are not best friends. It's not like they're hanging out. They don't go to, have drinks together. No. They don't go watch movies. Like the chance of them watching a movie together, Young Washington, slim to none, right? Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Not even chai.
While he's sitting there, he is talking about removing the sanctions. I don't know if you got the videos of, if you want to pull that up. So I want you to watch this video here, folks, how openly the president is speaking and saying, yeah, Erdogan doesn't like Bibi. And if it wasn't for me, ... Watch this clip here. Go for it.
But there are a couple I don't like much. But I like Erdoğan. I'll tell you, I like President Erdoğan. He rolled out the red carpet. He's terrific. He could have gone into the war. A lot of people saying, like with Bibi, I like Bibi. I think Bibi was a terrific wartime prime minister. But Bibi said rough things yesterday about Turkey and Erdogan. And I said, I spoke to him. I said, he could have gone into the war because he doesn't like Israel much, and he doesn't like Bibi much, and he didn't go because of me. And this is a military power. Millions of soldiers. Turkey is very strong. They have a lot of our best equipment. They're trying to get the F-35s. But he didn't go in. He would go in. If it weren't for me, he would have gone in, and he would have been on the other side. But there are a couple I don't like.
So how do you process that, Tom? How do you process what he's saying here and the way he's positioning, wanting to remove sanctions of Turkey? How big of a deal is that? A lot of people are not happy. Some people are happy. Where do you stand with this?
Well, there's two countries that he's been talking about, and one is Turkey and the other is Syria. And people will say that the guy that's leading Syria is, an ex-thug, ex-terrorist.
He is a terrorist.
But the fact is, Syria's position has moved against Iran, and it has moved positively. They're not saints, and I don't think you trust them with your lunch money, but things have moved. And Trump wants Syria to do more. Trump also wants everybody to be reminded that Turkey is a war power. 3 things he said. They got some of our best equipment. They want the F-35s. Translation, maybe we're doing a deal. Maybe we'll talk about that. And he said, you know what? I like him. And so the rest of the world hears, I like Turkey. They're a war power. They have our best equipment, and they're asking for the F-35s, leaving the rest of the world to say, oh, Lord, don't give them that in addition to all this other equipment. So I think Trump is drawing a line there. And there was a great game a long time ago. It was called Diplomacy. And Diplomacy was on a board, and it showed old Europe, Pat. And you would sit there and put your pieces on there and then talk to people about who you're going to support. I'll support you, but I'll support him in an attack against this other guy. And then at the end of it, after we all have our moves, which we put on paper, we put in the middle. And then we read out all the results. And guess what? Usually the people that had the strongest alliances win. And I think Trump is trying to build alliances and keep people in a state of stasis. And stasis is like where you have the nitro and the glycerin in 2 separate jugs, but they're still next to each other. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to keep, through strong diplomacy, people from attacking each other and to remind people who is the linchpin in all this, and it's the United States of America.
Adam, where are you at with this? How do you process this?
So Trump breaking down the relationship between Bibi Netanyahu, Israel, and Turkey's Erdogan is what you're asking
talking about removing sanctions, and while openly discussing the fact that Erdogan doesn't like Bibi and still didn't attack Israel. How do you process all of that?
Yeah, well, look, in geopolitics, Trump has become a master. His first term, he was, just above water. Right now, I think he's sort of moving and grooving and knows what he's doing. And he realizes that diplomacy, like Tom said, is essential. Meaning you could be friends with 2 people who are mortal enemies. The old enemy of enemy is my friend. The reality is Erdogan in Turkey has made Turkey stronger than it's ever been, but also he's a legit authoritarian. He's trying to basically make the Ottoman Empire great again. And I don't know, you might have some Armenian and Assyrian and Greek friends that don't want to hear that news. But Trump doesn't really necessarily care about that. He wants to basically make a deal. And the deal on the table is, let's see what happens. He has no loyalty when it comes to a deal. There's 3 different camps. There's friends, there's enemies, and there's frenemies. So we know who our allies are. Israel is an ally, despite all the rhetoric out there. We know who our enemies are out there, for sure. Iran, Russia, China. Turkey is what I would call someone in the middle, which is a frenemy. They could go either way. And I think the way that Trump structures deals is, let's take this frenemy and try to make him a friend, try to fit this round cube into the square box, as they say. We'll see what happens. But I do think that Trump has the ability to be friends with some bad dudes, some bad hombres, and Erdogan is one of them.
Vinny.
Well, Pat, I think when Tom said the word diplomacy, I mean, I can't. It always goes back to my mind imagining if, let's just say, I don't know how Biden was doing or who was calling the shots, his wife or whoever, but the diplomacy part of how much Trump is such an alpha boss where he could sit there and say, listen, I'm cool with this guy and I'm cool with this guy, and they hate each other. And the reason that everything hasn't gone off the rails is because of me, and you have to give him credit for it, okay? He walks in the rooms and he tells them, hey guys, the boss is here. And he is. Put yourself in the mindset, Tommy, if Kamala Harris, I always like, oh my God, if Kamala Harris was in charge, who knows how these people would be going at it? It's like being a parent, Tom, and having two of the kids that want to go after each other. If you're not a strong parent, they're going to beat the crap out of each other, and everybody in the house is going to suffer. And again, we criticize him. I have my hiccups about Trump and some of the decisions he made. But in this type of situation with diplomacy and where we're leaders that have bombs, and Tom, think about it. He's basically saying we sell stuff to Israel and we sell stuff to Turkey too.
Best equipment.
And now we're talking about our best of the best fighter jets that we want to give them. So I think in this situation, you nailed it, Tom. Nitro and glycerin right next to each other, and Trump is just that little border that keeps him from igniting.
And Trump's a boss. I mean, it was once said, and I love this line, I think it was Giscard d'Estaing or Neville Chamberlain. I don't know who they attribute it to. I've seen it attributed a lot. The art of diplomacy sometimes is telling the other man to go to hell in such a way that he really looks forward to the trip.
That's hilarious.
So the question is,
there's one other thing
the question here becomes, who releases this? Does he need Congress for this sanction to be released? And if he does, is Congress happy about this? Is Congress sitting there saying, yes, let's do this? Or can he just go to Rubio and text it and say, guys, let's start working on this? What is the process with this, Tom, of removing sanctions?
It depends on where these sanctions were. Were they trade sanctions or were they presidential purview sanction? And I confess I didn't do the research on that.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know what the process with this would be, because is he saying this and then putting it out there where Erdogan says like, oh, he's open to the idea, but he knows on the back end Congress is not going to pass it. So it's like, yeah, I try to do it, but it's on Congress. Don't get upset at me. Congress is the one I really want to. So this is a very tricky situation because you're putting the. I wonder if this is a Congress issue. He's always.
Well, I think so, Pat, because if with tariffs he has to go to them and they can knock it down, I don't see why this wouldn't be something.
Well, let's look at this here. The core sanctions on Turkey were Russian program were codified by Congress at the CATSA, CAA, TSA, and the provisions of the National Defense Authorization Acts because they are in the statute. The president cannot just erase them. By executive or Congress has to change or waive the. Okay, so that's the issue right there.
So they got put in a statute, not an executive order. You could just say, I changed my mind, I'm done.
To me, this may be because Bibi's sitting there saying, dude, what are you doing? Turkey's already that strong. What are you doing with this? Like, hey, this is what I'm capable of doing.
Yes.
This is what I'm capable of doing. And we know the position with Iran's changed. So let me get into the Iran situation. Trump says ceasefire is over after U.S. and Iran trade strikes overnight. Okay? And the comments, if you guys haven't seen the video, he just came out and says, so what happened? He says, look, I thought they were good people. Now I really know what they're all about, and I'm not interested. And I don't want to negotiate with them. These are bad people. These are this, these are that. And he went back and said, here's what we're going to be doing. They started attacking. And on the story with this, U.S. hits more than 80 Iran targets, reimposes oil sanctions. So we're back at it again with this. The United States launched a new wave of military strikes against Iran, hitting more than 80 targets and imposing sanctions on Iranian oil after Tehran attacked 3 commercial ships near the Strait of Hormuz, further straining the ceasefire reach between the two countries. U.S. Central Command said American forces struck air defense systems and command and control networks, coastal radar sites, anti-ship missile capabilities, and more than 60 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps boats to degrade Iran's ability to continue attacking international commerce. It added that U.S. forces remain prepared to hold Iran accountable when the agreement is not adhered to or obeyed. The U.S. was also revoked a waiver allowing Iranian oil sales that has been granted under ceasefire, saying Iran's attack on commercial shipping justified restoring sanctions. Iran responds. Iran vowed retaliation, warning it would deliver a crushing response to what it called American aggression. The country's top military command said it would, under no circumstance, permit interference in the Strait of Hormuz and insisted vessels use routes designated by Iran. Iran's top negotiator, Baghar Ghalibaf, accused Washington of violating the Memorandum of Understanding, writing, "The era of bullying and extortion is over. We don't fold." Tom, thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, so let's go take a look. Oil, after last week, remember we had things going back and forth last week, Vinny?
Yeah.
And we talked about that the market didn't really move much.
Yeah.
And the market was like, yeah, well, these guys are going to be growling at each other, during this. And so the market didn't move. All of a sudden, this happens, and oil overnight popped back to 74.25. Remember, we were at 67 and all celebrating, hey, 67, 75. That's where we were on February 27th when this started. And we're like, this is great. This is what we need. And now all of a sudden, oil is back up into mid-70s. We don't need that. So number one, the markets now, Pat, are reacting the way they did 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
They're back to that, being nervous. And the ships in transit, they were kind of going. They're claimed to be right now, according to transponders on Strait of Hormuz tracker, we have 51 ships in the Gulf proceeding. And the insurance rates are elevated, but not extreme. So the cost of sailing there. Now, so that means that things are moving in the Gulf, but the markets are nervous with all this. But on the other side of it, there is a arm wrestling match going on in the background. Remember, there's 2 shipping lanes that go on the south, and then there's 2 shipping lanes that go on the north by Lanark Island, I think that is, on the north. And that's where Iran says, you will go in the north lanes because eventually they want to put up the toll booth. And everybody's like, no, we're going to go in the south lanes, and the British and the Americans have cleared the mines. And that's what's pissing them off. They got ships going down there on the south because that's a lever point for Iran. So after a week of growling at each other, PBD, we now have very real market response all over again and very real bombs. And we're not just hitting, those 2 drone sites were launched. We'll drop 10 bombs on the drone sites. Apparently, we hit 80 sites.
Yeah, 80 sites, 80 plus sites. By the way, this is the president talking about Iran.
It's on again.
Going back and forth. Watch this here, folks. Go ahead.
Is the ceasefire over? Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
It's funny. By the way, if you can find the other clip as well, a person then asks, and he says, what happened? I thought you said they're good people. How did they all of a sudden go from being good people to being bad people? And he explains that. He addresses that. I don't know if you have that one or not. Do you have that one, or is that the one? A while ago, they wanted to make a deal so badly. I just wanted to, I don't think it's that one. So when you see his position here, Adam, with the way he went from one side being, hey, let's make a deal, memorandum of this, understanding, and then all of a sudden, nah, bomb them. These guys are not good people. They're scum. How do you process that?
Well, thank you for coming to your senses, Mr. President. Nobody wants to tell the president, well, we told you so, sir. But now's your chance if you want to do that. He says, you know what? They're scum. They're sick. They're led by sick people. They're vicious. They're violent people. They're liars. And these are the supposed moderates. So anybody that's been following Iran, Pat included, obviously, our boss here, we know what these people are. We knew that when they signed this memorandum of understanding, the third word, understanding, There's no understanding with these people. The only language that they understand, unfortunately, is strength.
Exactly.
And then when you actually start bombing them, being like, oh my God, we just killed your Ayatollah. Now they're doing a funeral. That's the only language they understand. Because you have to respect one thing about the IRGC and the Islamic Republic of Iran. They really believe in what they're doing. I mean, we think it's crazy, obviously. They think, inshallah, this is what they're working on. So when we have our memorandums of understanding, we're trying to have peace through strength or diplomacy,
Adam, let
through
me ask you
strength,
this.
whatever
How
it
much
is,
you think?
they're just not buying it.
How much you think the president saw the way they did the funeral for Khamenei, and they're saying Trump's got to be next. He's got to be a target with the MC. How much of that? You think the president saw that, by the way? Do you think the president saw or was reported on how the funeral was?
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
1,000,000%.
Okay, so how much of that do you think? How much of that do you think? Really, I'm on this side trying to get a deal with you, and this is how you're talking during your funeral? Yeah. You want to take me out? No problem. That's what you want to do. Boom, change of plans. Deals off the table. How much you think was the funeral that caused him? Because he's never spoken like this about them before. Never. If you not like this scum, he's never said they're scum. He's never said stuff like this to they're cuckoo. He's never been this strong about Iran ever before. So for me, I wonder how much of it was the way they celebrated Khamenei's life, his funeral, and the comments that they met with not just anybody, the MC of the event, for him to say, you know what? Take it off the table. Let's go strong at these guys.
I think you're right, and I'll make only one simple observation. Do you remember when the media said, when Trump was watching it on TV, it wasn't that he was watching the speeches at this particular moment. He was watching the footage of all of the tens of thousands of people that were in the streets. Pat, you know what I'm talking about. And he turned to somebody and he said, is that real footage? And they said, yes, sir, it is. That's live. That's real. And then he said this, I thought they hated him. And I saw that comment, and then I saw all the anti-Trump rhetoric, and now I see this. I connect those dots.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there may be a connection there with the timing of it to say, this is how you guys want to handle this. Is this the one, by the way? Is this the clip? Watch this clip here, folks.
It's a very interesting question. To me,
No, this isn't. Fast forward. You got to go to exactly where it's at. You got to keep going to the question a person asks. But I'll come to you until he finds it.
Well, Pat, I'm with all the stuff that's going on, and I could get into the funeral because, brother, there was 4 Americans that were there, Pat. Kala Walsh, Jackson Hinkle, Christopher Halali, and Max Blumenthal. These are Americans that were there. I'm not trying to change the story, Pat. I'm just trying to give some context, especially about this funeral. They were taking photos with "Kill Trump" written in English behind them. Kill Trump. And the only way that these 4 Americans could have attended this funeral was direct coordination with the IRGC, okay, which is a designated terrorist organization. So for a fact, Pat, it's on his radar and he knows. But the thing that it's hitting me, Iran has the upper hand when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, Tom. This is going to keep happening, okay? And I'm not going to go back to, rehash why it happened, whose fault it was, blah, blah, blah. Put that aside. We are where we are right now. America needs to figure out a way to freaking nip this in the bud because every 2 weeks they could just bomb somewhere. We come back, peace deal, negotiation, not. I think, and I hate to be that guy, but Pat, something has to happen. They need to figure out a solution to cut off this freaking power because these guys are walking on with too much, I think they have arrogance because they're like, we'll bomb a couple, and what are they going to do?
So let me ask this.
I don't like it.
Here's the other question for you. Where does Turkey rank as military in the world?
They're top 4, top 3.
Where does Turkey rank?
They're number one in the Middle East region by might and power and
it's
armament.
Not even
a
close.
regional strong power.
Yeah.
So top 3.
So here's a question for you.
No.
Here's a question for you. Not worldwide, but in that area, if you can pull up the number of where Turkey ranks, where's Turkey at? So
number one.
Look at the timing of
in
the
the
deal.
region.
Look at the timing. Yeah, I mean that's the region I'm talking about.
Region.
Look at the timing. Look at the timing of it. On the same day you're attacking, on the same day you're sitting there talking to Erdoğan. Do you think behind closed doors, Trump asked Erdoğan for something to do with Iran to either step out of the way, support, and Iran now? What is the relation Turkey plays with Iran in this situation? Because is he doing 2 deals? Because Turkey at one point was going to Russia to buy weapons from them, right? Turkey
Correct.
at one point went to Russia to want to buy weapons from them. So what is there any correlation between Turkey and Iran? Any correlation there between the two?
Well, they've had a delicate relationship at best, but they've had a cooperative relationship when it came to Israel and the West. Turkey was not supporting, arming, and sending supplies. So, from everything I've read, Turkey never sent supplies to arm Hamas or Hezbollah, but they would be in basic diplomatic cooperation with Iran while having a very tenuous relationship, because Turkey knows that friendship with Iran changes the whole dynamic with the U.S. And so is it possible that he said to Erdogan, you know what, this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and I need you to make sure you don't move here? I think that's absolutely possible. And why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't he do that? You know what I mean? Wouldn't you want, if you had the largest power in there and you're supplying him weapons, Pat, wouldn't you check in and just take his temperature on stuff, at least right now? Because you know other people, Russia and Iran, are trying to speak to him backdoor, even if he wasn't a big Iran buddy walking hand in hand down the street.
Yeah. A part of it is also Turkey buys oil from Iran. And so is there ties here with Strait? Do they have ships? How many ships does Turkey have in Strait of Hormuz right now? Can you check to see how many ships does Turkey have in the Strait right now? Do we know? How many ships are there? Adam, while he's looking that up, go for it. You look like you want to say something.
Yeah, well, Trump is just trying to thread the needle. It's a very delicate situation. By the way, where are these NATO talks being held? They're being held in Ankara, Turkey. So, you know, if you're going to be in someone's house, you're not going to disrespect them. So Trump, here's my little synopsis. Trump got his little, what I would call, publicity victory on June 14th. I know a very wise man who called it on June 14th. I also know somebody else was like, look, I don't think this is going to hold. And that's kind of playing out. Iran and Turkey have what they call, I think, a managed rivalry, but they're not friends. They're not enemies. They're somewhere in the middle in the frenemy situation. What they say about Iran is Iran's never won a war, but they've never lost a negotiation. And then what Trump is trying to do is trying to focus on winning the midterms, and Iran is focusing on trying to win the end of times. So those two things are going to clash. At the end of the day, this thing's going to continue. Turkey's going to try to play a role, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, are we taking out the IRGC or not? Because they will continue terrorizing the world and their people unless they're stopped.
So public reporting shows commercial Turkish-owned ships, not Turkish Navy warships. At the latest report, 7 Turkish-owned vessels remain in the Hormuz, with 177 Turkish crew members abroad. 11 Turkish-owned ships had already left since the war began, so Turkey does not appear to have a publicly confirmed naval deployment. I wasn't concerned about the naval deployment, just business ships that are coming in and out or bringing things back. I don't know. I think the timing of it, Trump is, typically when you do a deal, you will, before you make that phone call here, you know who they're going to call. So you call this person first to make sure this person's on your side. Then you make the phone call. So when they call, like, oh, shit, what do I do now? So, and Trump said something in one of the things. He says, how do you think I became the president? I know when a deal is not going to happen. I know when a deal's not going to happen. Do you have that clip of I know when the deal's not? Play this clip first, and we go to that. But he was specifically saying that I know when a deal's going to happen and a deal's not going to happen. And I know these guys are not going to do it. I can just tell when I do it. This guy knows deals and the calls, so we don't know the entire story. That's for sure. Go ahead and play this clip. Watch this.
Mr. President, Tyler Pager with the New York Times. Last month you said Iranian leaders were very rational people, nice people to deal with, strong people, smart people. Today you said they were scum, sick people, and being led by sick people. What changed, and do you think
I got to know them. So I've said that about a lot. Now, when you say rational, I think they're much more rational than level 1, level 2. Level 1 is gone, level 2 is gone. This is level 3. I think.
So that's the part he was talking about, level 3 being more rational, and then all of a sudden snapping. So I don't know. I've always liked unpredictable leaders. I always liked a father is great when he's predictable and an element of unpredictability. A leader is great when he's predictable and an element of unpredictability. A world leader definitely is good to have a level of unpredictability. Yesterday, we're going for a walk. We went on a long bike ride. And one of the conversations we had on our walk, if you remember this, 2 days ago, it was, if you have these 4 energies, tell me which one of them is the most important in different relationship dynamics. Fear, do you want to be feared? Do you want to be loved? Do you want to be liked? And do you want to be respected? And I asked the question of you, I said, what do you think it should be as a father? And then you asked the question, depends on the age, which is the right question to ask. I said, okay, what about a 10-year-old boy, your son, versus a 25-year-old son?
Yeah.
And at 10 years old, what did you say with kids?
With the kid, they want love from the father. And
Okay, so number one is to be loved.
Yeah.
To love. And then?
They have to like you because they want to be able to play with you.
Yep.
They have to respect you because it's 10, and then he has to fear you.
So you think at 10 years old, fear's got to be last?
Fears have to be at 10 years old. Probably a little bit less. He has to fear you a little bit more.
Okay. And okay. So how about as a world leader, you're president of the United States. You're dealing with Iran. Which one of those four
They
you
have
think
to
matters
fear
the
you.
most? Number
They
one is
have to
fear.
fear you.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Have to be.
You
afraid
have
of
to have some fear. And guess what? Who feared Biden?
Nobody
feared Biden. So I liked a little bit of the unpredictability of fear to see what's going to happen. Yeah, exactly. By the way, is that the one of making a deal where he says, go watch this clip here. This is a deal maker. If you've not read the book Art of the Deal, this is who wrote it. Go for it.
We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
If they want to make a deal, why do you think they attacked commercial vessels?
Because they're sort of crazy, to be honest with you. They're sort of crazy. They're a little bit out of control, but they want to make a deal badly. We have many ways.
This wasn't the one. It's another clip when he's talking about, I know when somebody doesn't want to make a deal. I know when somebody is full of shit. Like he flat out said that. So anyways, let's go to the next story. Next one I want to get into is the following. So World Cup. Story came out, I think it was from Kalshi. And Kalshi said ticket prices of the World Cup have dropped 60%.
That's crazy.
Since U.S. and Portugal is out. And we saw how U.S. lost. Belgium. Unbelievable. It was incredible to watch. It was humiliating. And by the way, Pulisic is getting trashed right now by a bunch of different people. And Landon Donovan came out and said this is what's going to happen, all this other stuff. But there was a big camp around the world that wanted to see Portugal and Ronaldo win its first World Cup. And they lost. They lost. When they lost, there was an interview that was done afterwards. I don't know if you have the clip of the interview. There was an interview that was done afterwards with Ronaldo. And a lot of people in the marketplace are talking about this, saying, look, this is why he is not Messi. This is what the market is saying. Where he said, I want you to see this. And look, to the people that are Ronaldo fans, I know we're going to get it. And I want to hear it. I want you to give your thoughts on this. But is this how a champion speaks? Maybe you like this kind of conversation. Go ahead, play the clip.
Ha ganado 3 títulos por Portugal.
I've won 3 titles for Portugal. Before Cristiano, Portugal did not win a single title. The best title I have won with Portugal is the Euro 2016. Honestly, for me, Euro 2016 is like winning the World Cup. Again, I lead with clear conscience and giving my best. Tomorrow will be a new day, then life will go on. How do you feel about that answer right there to say before Cristiano? Meaning before Cristiano, he's talking to himself as before Cristiano, and then saying that 2016 Euro is the same exact thing as winning the World Cup.
Listen, talented, awesome, family, father, all around amazing. He's a net positive to the sport, to society, for his country. But that attitude after you don't make it, it's kind of like, hey, I'm good. I'm really nasty. Portugal would have nothing without me. And by the way, I already won something that to me is just as important, if not better than the World Cup. Bro, have some humility. You know what? You know what he could have basically said? Hey, it wasn't in my cards, but you know what? I've had a great career. I represent my country. I love my country. Good luck to everybody else. That's simple. Not me, and I've already done this. And that's why, with all due respect to all the people out there that are going to get pissed off, there's Messi and then there's Ronaldo. There's no question. It's not even in the same conversation. And I'm sorry to put it to you. Messi, you think Messi would ever say some crazy stuff like that if he was in his position? Honestly, if he was in his position, would he ever say, hey, Argentina would be nothing without Messi and Messi? Come on.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but to me, like whether Messi would say that, a lot of people would say Messi would never say that, right? These are true Messi fans that would never say that. But to say it was the same thing, like it's the same thing as the... Tom, how do you process that? 'Cause I want to share some numbers here with you guys.
Well, to say without me, they wouldn't have got anything. That's pure ego. That's not team. That's ego. And then to say, well, Euro 2016 is the same as a World Cup. What? I mean, no one thinks that. No one agrees with that. There's not one person anywhere. That's just denial. And between ego and denial, Sports Illustrated said that the statement was painfully on brand, meaning this is what a lot of
people... Who said that? Sports Illustrated?
Said it was painfully on brand.
Meaning no one's surprised that he said this because
Correct.
he is known as...
This is him walking off at the last World Cup, chasing the money when other players wouldn't chase the money in Saudi Arabia. They're just saying, hey, this is on brand. This is ego and denial.
Yeah, the way I look at it is I went back, okay, and looked at the 2016 Euro that he won. When he says he believes it's the same as the World Cup, you know who he didn't face?
Who?
Where was Neymar in 2016? How good was Neymar in 2016? 2016?
He's up there as one of the
Neymar
best.
was 10 times better than today. 2016. Neymar was Neymar.
The height of his power.
He didn't face Messi. You didn't beat Messi. You didn't beat Suarez. Suarez was good at the time. You think about Uruguay. You didn't face James Rodriguez. You didn't face Alexis Sanchez, Arturo Vidal from Chile, which we got our guy here, Mohamed Saleh. This is at their peak. You didn't beat these guys. And by the way, Zlatan didn't play in the final Euros. There was a couple guys that didn't even play. But when you think about the comments being made, saying like, "Hey, I believe," I don't know which one of the players, Carmelo and one of the NBA players says, "I believe winning the gold medal is bigger than winning the NBA championship." It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a lot harder to win an NBA championship to win a gold. No, but it's not. They make these arguments. Charles Barkley said it best. I'm not a champion. And he criticized himself. He says, I've never won. You're right. I've never won. And there's nothing more important than stop saying it doesn't mean. I don't like the comments to be said. I think there could have been a different position for him to make. But I will tell you, there's something in soccer they do once every 30 years, 40 years. It's called Super Ballon d'Or, which the Super one, I believe it's coming up in 2029. If you pull up who won the last Super Ballon d'Or, it's the Stefano, what's his full name? Di Stefano, he won the last Super Ballon d'Or, and it was in 1989. In 3 years, they're going to announce the next one. When, let's just say Messi wins the World Cup, I don't think they're going to win it. I think France just looks too dominant, and if Egypt almost beat them, I think France can probably beat these guys. And by the way, France has to beat Morocco. Norway looks good. There's just too much competition. England even looks good. I mean, this is a very competitive part. But to make comments like that, who was it? Alfredo Di Stefano. Yeah. That's the last, So now if they give the next one in 2029, I just don't like going that way. I was rooting for Ronaldo. The entire time I was rooting for Ronaldo. The entire time. I wanted this guy to win. Because, one of our kids is a big fan of Ronaldo, but I'm a post-game interview guy, and I don't think no champion should talk like that and say Euro Cup and all this other stuff. I just don't think that's a good idea to say stuff like this. Adam, your thoughts on this?
Well, Ronaldo versus Messi, this is a conversation we've been having. Here's what I've realized in sports. There's good players, there's great players, and then there's just the GOATs. And in this conversation between Messi and Ronaldo, who's the GOAT and who's a great player? We all know the answer to that. Messi's the GOAT. So Ronaldo's going home, and Messi's still playing, and he's going for his back-to-back World Cup championship, and he may win. We'll see. You brought up basketball, and I know PBD is a massive basketball fan. I'm just a sideline hustler out here.
He's an expert.
But when MJ was coming up, and Magic was the man, and Bird was the man, Isaiah was the man, and then he surpassed these guys. He had some people on his level. He had Karl Malone, he had Charles Barkley that you just discussed, Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins. All these guys were all-stars, great players. But they all eventually realized, no, my bad. That's the GOAT right there. So what's going to happen to Ronaldo at some point, he's going to have to look into the mirror and see his pretty boy face and say, wow, I'm great, but Messi's the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's going to happen one day or another.
I'm a Kobe guy. I'm a diehard Kobe guy. But when Kobe was on that streak of back-to-back in his early 20s, I'm like, dude, this guy's going to pass up Michael as the greatest of all time. He didn't. He ended up winning 5, lost 2. Field goal percentages, 43, 44, 45%. Michael was at 50, 51%, and a bunch of different things. So to me, Michael's the greatest of all time. It's not even a question. I think this case is happening. Let me tell you another story that happened. Mbappe plays against Paraguay. And Paraguay, I don't know if you guys watched the game. Their game plan was, injury, agitation, frustration. It was a nasty game.
Yep.
Nasty. And they kept trying to get under Mbappe's skin. Nothing happened. Eventually, they ended up winning. It was a close game. They won 1-0, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was a 1-0 game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Post game is over with, a senator from Paraguay puts a message out there. And I want to read this to you. This is, I don't know if you have the message of what she originally said. This is post of her apologizing and addressing.
I still, like, when you said it, I don't believe it.
She said, instead of having breast milk, he grew up sucking on coconuts. The most educated creatures he ever heard of are chimpanzees. She said this.
This is
He's talking about who, Pat?
About Mbappe.
Unbelievable.
About Mbappe. And so Mbappe then responds back, and I don't know if you have Mbappe's respond. Mbappe responds back and he says, what an embarrassment you are to your country. While your country just wins and they have all these incredible things to be proud of, you're coming out and saying something like this? Do you know you just stole all the limelight from what your players did and you made it about you? Shame on you. I'm going to read you exactly what he said.
Perfect response.
Here for you. Yeah, shame on you. You took all the excitement and the enthusiasm. Did you get the tweet from Mbappe or no? If you don't have it.
Mbappe, the France captain, responded with a strongly.
There's a tweet by him, and I'll read it to you. He says, "You are a despicable woman and unworthy of your position. You do not represent Paraguay, that country which has sweated passion and honor throughout the competition. Though your recklessness and your brazen racism, the entire world has already forgotten the journey and the historic effort that your players accomplished during the World Cup, making way for an incompetent woman who gives the worst possible image of her country. I will never allow people like you to platform to her the freedom to spread with hatred, racism around the world." This post on Twitter got 1.8 million likes.
And look at her.
88 million views.
Good. 88 million people
88
see her
million
face.
views, yeah. And then this is the response that she had in the video. Watch the way she speaks. Tell me if this is your kind of a person. But press play, and you got to read the comment. Do my best to read the commentary to you. But watch her reaction. Go for it.
¿Usted se ratifica entonces en ahora sus dichos? ¿No va a pedir disculpas como plantea Mbappé?
Mbappé no me pidió disculpas y tampoco tengo
This
por qué.
one doesn't have the translation. The one I sent you had the translation. This one doesn't have the translation. One of them had the translation that's explaining, well, you know, I did apologize, but I'm going to sue him, and they're going to sue him. He better this, and by the way, right there, look what she says right there. If you zoom in, I come from a society where gays were beaten and were calling someone a shitty, I don't want to read the next word, was the most usual thing. I come from the generation, and so now I'm trying to build a different Celeste Amarilla that's so capable of coexisting with others. Have patience, I'm trying. What?
That's her name?
What?
That's who it was?
That's who it was.
You give her guys, give her time.
Yeah.
She's going to get rid of the coconut comments in about a couple years.
Yeah.
Then in 5 years, she's going to stop saying the N-word. Give her some time.
She says, I've written down that had been needed at his discretion. You know, these claims that instead of breast milk, he drank, you know, coconut, the most intrusive thing she heard. I retracted myself, she says. That is not discriminatory racism. Yes, it is what it is. I said it. I retracted. That's why I erased the post. She deleted the post, but this report gives an Afro-descendant community and not Mbappe. I give them all to everyone. That was a disappointment. And then she says something, but Mbappe hasn't apologized to me. What?
Get out of here.
No. She's asking Mbappe to apologize, and she says, if you don't, I'm going to do to you what we did to Ronaldinho. Don't forget what we did to Ronaldinho. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassing thing to say for somebody like this. So, you know, Adam, your thoughts on this with this story of Mbappe?
How old is this lady, if I may? If we
she
could
looks
pull that
like
up
she's in her early 60s, late 50s.
Okay, and what was the quote she said about, hey, I'm still learning, I'm still growing?
Yeah.
Lady, you got 1 foot on the banana peel and 1 foot in the grave, and this is how you're acting. To me, this is like, why? Talk about low-life class in Espanol, una desgracia. This person representing your country. I don't know. This is why I love free speech, and this is why I'm a free speech absolutist. Allow people to say who they are, and they will reveal themselves. This is disgusting. I've never heard of this woman. I've never heard what she said, but what she's saying. Any person with common sense and reality will realize you don't say these kind of things.
He's 60.
And maybe if you're a type of a racist person who tells little funny jokes on the side, okay, gotcha, buddy. You're going to put this out in public and embarrass yourself, your family, and your country? Disgrazie.
She's 61 years old, Pat, and like there's
61 years old. Yeah,
61.
She's still learning and growing, though.
She, like, what a like, think about it, and you nailed it, Pat. Paraguay came in. They were fighting. They were a little aggressive, maybe a little dirty, but they fought their butts off, and they were actually exciting to watch. And it just takes one person, and she's the one to now put a stain on them, because now, guess what the talk is? Nobody's talking about their gameplay. Nobody cares about the damn scores. It's her and her big mouth. And I'm curious to what the president is going to say and what they're going to do.
Oh, the country came out and said, we do not support the comment that was made by the senator. I think Paraguay responded and said, this is not our position. This is her position.
Good.
So Paraguay very quickly, she's an embarrassment. Yeah, go back to that story you just had.
Horrible.
Paraguayan senator demands apology from Mbappe, threatens illegal action. That's ESPN. She's saying, I'm going to sue you. You got to apologize to me. She what?
She's from the Liberal Party as well. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's,
PBD, can I ask you a question,
Yeah,
Pat?
of course.
So these people just basically, what are they called, chimping out on the internet, this lady right now. We've seen people emotionally react to their team losing. We showed a video last week of a Mexican guy freaking out. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
There's Brazilians going crazy. People all around the world when their team loses. This lady in Paraguay being ridiculous. You've told a story about when you don't text real quick when you're in a fight because, let time to cool off. What would you say to people who are just emotionally reacting when they're upset like this? I think you understand what I'm asking, right?
Yeah, I mean, but this is not even emotional. By the way, this is who she is.
Yep.
This is not emotional. This is her. So because after you said I deleted it, and then says I come from a country of this, and he better apologize or else I'm going to sue. We just learned that's not a mistake you made. That's who you are. And guess what? It's okay. We now know who you are.
Meaning she wasn't mad. She wasn't being emotional. She's just like, yeah, this is who I am.
She is exactly who you think she is. This is not a joke. Government of France and Paraguay reacted to racism remarks made by the senator, Celeste Amaria. And if you want to zoom into this one, I do think they apologize. The government of Republic of Paraguay deplores and rejects the statements made by the senator directed at the captain of the French national team, Mbappe. These statements are contrary to the values and principles that inspire peaceful coexistence and respect for human dignity, which our country promotes. Paraguay is a democratic republic governed by the principle of separation and independence. Okay, now it goes into all this other stuff promoting the state. And then the French government also said the following. The president of a republic, this is from Macron, by the way. The president of the republic supports Mbappe and the French national team in the face of racist attacks to which the captain of Les Blues has been subject. The Paraguayan president wrote to the French president to this effect, condemning the remarks made as the Paraguayan Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So there you have it. This is a one-off person. This lady, her face says it all. I don't know what else you need. Just look at her face.
Yeah, she's not going to come to a microphone.
Her face tells you who she is. No.
She's not going to come to a microphone and say, lo siento, which I'm sorry. She's never going to come up and say that. Lo siento.
This is the Karen of Paraguay.
No, exactly. Miar de el trasero.
Hola, Karen, in Paraguay.
Tom, you sound like a novella, a Spanish.
No, I just said.
Tom talks like that to Melva, and Melva begs me for him to not try to talk Spanish.
He's like, Joe Caro.
No,
Te quiero, mi amor.
Let me read this. What happened. Let me get to the next story while we're on the World Cup situation here. Argentina's Football Association, the FBI is investigating them for money laundering, wire fraud, and tax evasion. Crazy story. Crazy. Nothing to do with Messi, but it has to do with Argentina's Football Association. Let me read it to you on what's confirmed. So the FBI and the U.S. Department of Justice prosecutors are conducting an investigation into the AFA financial activities in the U.S. Investigations focus on commercial and financial transactions that pass through the U.S. banking system, which gives U.S. authorities jurisdiction if federal laws were violated. Investigators are reportedly examining more than $300 million in transactions connected to sponsorship, media rights, and commercial agreements. What investigators are looking into, according to reports, prosecutors are investigating money laundering, wire fraud, tax-related offenses, and other financial crimes. At this stage, these are allegations under investigations, not established facts. The company at the center is a Florida-based company called Tour Prod Enter LLC. Is reportedly a central focus. Investigators are examining whether it collected sponsorship and commercial revenue on behalf of AFA, moved hundreds of thousands of dollars through major U.S. banks distributed tens of millions of dollars to individuals or entities whose businesses purpose investigators are trying to verify which banks are reportedly involved: Citibank, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, and PNC Bank. So this is another one of those stories that's out there that's a lot of people. So bottom line is an investigation not yet finding guilt. They are investigating, but this was one of the stories on Twitter that went viral on VT. Probably a bigger part of it is the market thinking if there's any ties to Messi. And people made it very, very clear. This has to do with the Argentines Association, not with Messi. But it is something that the FBI is now involved in, which is pretty wild. Because FBI is who? Who is the FBI?
Our Federal Bureau
And that's who? Cash Patel.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Cash Patel knows about this investigation. And so we know a phone call was made to FIFA for Balogun. So, what does this have to do with anything? Who knows? I do know Messi is good with the president. I do know Messi is good with the White House. I think Messi is probably conservative. So is Ronaldo. These are family guys. Hispanics, most Hispanics are generally conservatives. Tom, is this a big story? Do you think this is a big story?
Well, it seems like business as usual in Miami. A foreign country has something that they've sold for an awful lot of money, and it was illegal, and guys in Miami got busted for it. That happens all day. It's usually Colombia, not Argentina. But when you've got the World Cup, you've got opportunities for a lot of money on these sponsorships. And when you have a lot of money on the line, you have a lot of people that are going to come in and try to bend the rules and do something with it. And it appears that that's what they did here. So sadly, this doesn't surprise me. I'm not condemning Argentina, but sadly, we hear about it, Super Bowl, illegal gambling. We hear about March Madness, and then we hear about Olympic things that happen. This is not surprising that when the World Cup is there with so many dollars in it, Pat, that bad guys kind of magnetize to it.
Yeah, there you go. Adam, any thoughts on this?
I'm not going to stand for this, Pat. Tom's just talking trash about Miami. He's lucky I'm not in the same room as him right now.
Take
Tom.
it easy.
Come on, Tom. Well, we broke up a little bit in the audio. I don't know if you were talking about Argentina with the waste, fraud, and abuse, or you're talking about California, because I know we want to talk about that today.
Pick
but
one.
The reality is, yes,
you're always
there are
right.
some shady people in Latin America, and just like there's shady people all around the world, and yes, they want to park their assets here in Miami and here in America. I'm not familiar with this exact story, but shady people are looking to basically park their money in the United States because it's a safe haven.
All right, so let me go to the next story. Next story we got here is Gavin Newsom, California, threatens to arrest anyone who tries to clean up California's disastrous election system. You should see the way he presented himself on we are not going to allow anybody to come and interfere election and all. Stop it. Stop it. Like anybody actually believes what this guy is saying. Even his own party has distanced themselves from him. There's a clear and disturbing pattern emerging in the waning days of California. Gavin Newsom's administration is also indicated of how he'd rule this country if he ever elected president, so voters should pay attention. When independent journalist Nick Shirley exposed the massive amounts of Medicare fraud, Newsom and California Democrats responded by pushing legislation to criminalize that type of investigative journalism, the Stop Nick Shirley Act. It's more than likely that this legislation is unconstitutional. We get thrown out of the courts. But that's not the point. The point is that Democrats have decided that protecting fraudsters and fraud is more important than the First Amendment. In the same vein, Gavin Newsom is also going to criminalize looking into California's broken, dysfunctional election system. He's vowing to jail anyone who tries to expose the problem and fix the system. Here's what he had to say. Let me speak directly to anyone. Is that him, by the way? Go for it. How long is this? 41 seconds. Go ahead. Watch this, folks.
Let me speak directly to anyone considering helping President Trump interfere with our election or our count. If you violate California's laws, if you interfere with our voters, tamper with our ballots, or meddle in our election, you will be prosecuted. Doesn't matter who gave the order. That's why I'm moving forward with new legislation that would make it a felony to seize ballots before the vote has been certified by state and county officials. We will be the wall he cannot get past, because we believe that once an election is decided, the winner governs for everyone. That's the architecture of American liberty. Donald Trump, he doesn't believe in that architecture.
There you have it. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, he got it wrong. It's not the architecture of American liberty. It's the architecture, our elections are the architecture of American democracy. So what he's doing, Vinny, this is kind of funny. What do the Democrats do? What do the liberals do? accuse you of doing something they're already doing.
Projecting.
So yeah, exactly. So, we're going to accuse you of fraud or do it. Wait a minute. If they're trying to arrest us, maybe we could arrest them first. It's the same playbook. And it's basically, this is the playbook of deflection. It's that same old saw. And so, you're interfering with our elections. Seems like there's some evil force out there, Pat, that's interfering with California. No, that's not what it's about. It's basically, it's like I'll tell you, there was a joke made about the World Cup that says, wait a minute, even though the game's over, shouldn't we wait till California counts all the goals? Maybe you didn't lose. And so that's kind of what we see here. And so we see Gavin Newsom once again, putting his chin out there and about to get hit. And to me, this is ludicrous. You're putting something out there that you're setting yourself up for a shutdown even by the Ninth Circus. And the Ninth Circus is the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that is in Northern California. It's known as the Ninth Circus because it is the most overturned court in the land, but they would flip this in a heartbeat. And so it's kind of shocking. It's grandstanding, and it's a media moment and nothing more, Pat. That's what I see here.
By the way, if you pull up the tweet, like last week we talked about where he had a mole. He had somebody on his team that was watching him. And by the way, this investigation started under Biden, right? So they retweet. This is Newsom. They retweet the clip from July 3rd. This thing, go a little bit bottom to see how his audience reacted to it. It got 2 million views, only 1,000 likes, but go to the top and look at the way they open it up and explain everything. MAGA bootlickers are spreading false information that the New York comic book has refused to correct in an article filled with innuendo, not facts. They are playing into Trump's lawless fishing expedition, empty-handed. Anyways, and then he gives the facts. Can you go to the bottom? This is their actual office. Go to the bottom with the comment section. Let's see how their audience reacted. Number one, panic. Keep going a little bit lower.
That's you. They used your video.
Yeah, little fire scarecrow. Gina Milan, zoom in a little bit. My eyes can't see it. This started under Biden, not Trump. Panicking. Haha, your panic is so awesome, you piece of commie. And your Weinstein, what does it say? Diseased? Okay, I'm not going to keep going a little bit lower. And you go, are you scared? You seem scared. Ain't nobody reading all that. Democrats always wiretap everyone. Don't play dumb. Go a little bit lower. So it's interesting that for them, they are right now worried. And the reason why they're worried is because the DSA has officially recruited Newsom. Newsom has officially publicly announced he lost to socialists. And he's joining their camp. Newsom has officially thought to himself that there's no way we can win as modern Democrats. FYI, who has been saying for the last 2 years that an AOC can become president in 2028? Have you seen the Kalshi numbers lately, specifically the last 2 weeks where AOC is at? Have you seen how much she's climbed up? Have you seen the Vegas odds? Have you seen what's going on? If there is a candidate on the left that can win the primaries and be the Democratic presidential candidate, it is AOC. And she's number one on my list, not Newsom. Look at that number right there. 21, 17%. Ossoff is 15%. But here's what I want you to do. Can you do me a favor and zoom in on where she went up just in the last week? Can you put that in the last week? You see how it says all? Just tap in 1 week. Go a little bit lower right there. It says 1 week. Okay? And go 1 month. Go 1 month. Look at 1 month. Boom. At one point, she was at the same level as Newsom, and that was just 10 days ago. Just so you knew this. And by the way, it's $146 million. So we're not talking about, $146,000.
This isn't a small poll
No,
here.
it's not. It's not. Newsom is so afraid of AOC, and he is now copying AOC because he thinks he has to be a socialist to win. That tells you his backbone. He'll do anything and everything, take on any policy to be president because that's on his list of what he wants to do. Adam, your thoughts on this story?
Yeah. Well, Gavin Newsom, bless your heart, Gavin Newsom. You know how they say in the South, like when someone's an absolute mess, but you don't want to basically clown them. You're like, oh, bless your heart. Well, that's what's going on here in California. Bless your heart, Gavin Newsom. Nick Shirley lives rent-free in this guy's head. They're trying to pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act, which basically prioritizes fraudsters over the First Amendment, it says in this article. You know, if there was a poster child for basically standing up for illegals over the American citizenry, it would be Gavin Newsom's California. Maybe Mamdani's New York City, but maybe in New York, it wouldn't be bless your heart. It'd be like Allah Akbar your heart. Either way, these people are trying to ruin America, and they're going to do anything in their power to basically subdue the American citizens and basically prioritize the fraudsters. So bless your heart, Gavin Newsom. Good luck out there, buddy.
Okay, Vinny, any thoughts?
Well, just very, very quick. Like, Gavin Newsom is one of the guys that really challenges me, Pat, as a Christian, not to hate and despise someone. He is such a vile person. He lies through his freaking tongue. And Pat, he's very, he's so similar to a snake. Snakes use their tongues to navigate, Pat. They have no ears. They just use their tongues and they spit venom. They spit venom. And what he's basically saying is, if you try to make sure that we don't cheat in elections, because you know we are, it's illegal to even ask for identification in California. It's illegal. You can't do it. I know one of my friends that tried to vote. He took his ID up. They're like, no. Like it was poison. You have to be careful with people like this. And I'm telling you, you know it's bad, Pat, when they're moving on from people like this in the party and they're going to the communist socialist side. But this guy from the beginning, Pat, we've called this guy out from the beginning. He posted one of my videos a long time ago going, yeah, this is a lie. No. He's a slithering snake. And I'm telling you right now, it's sad that we've moved on from somebody like that and we're going to the communist part, but he's still a huge threat. Yeah. Guys like that.
He can't run away from a simple label now. Subject of a DOJ investigation.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom, subject of a DOJ investigation. People need to get used to hearing it. Gavin Newsom, subject of a DOJ investigation until it goes away. And the party has got Kamala on tour in the month of June, Pat. You see how she's been on tour? What is she doing? Where's that money coming from? The core party and the core Bidens, like traditional Democrats, they're right there and they're looking for a candidate, and it's not him. They're increasingly stepping back from him. On the other side, you've got DSA, which is almost like the thorn in the DNC. It's like their MAGA. The Democrat National Committee, the DNC, DSA is like their MAGA, their thorn. But now they've got emergence, they've got momentum. This is real. This is very real. We're seeing a fracturing of the party. We're seeing a desperate Gavin Newsom, subject of a DOJ investigation. And then we're seeing Kamala Harris trying to say, wait, all you core Dems, it's me. We're seeing more than just Gavin Newsom, Pat. We're seeing a hot mess play out.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happened. While this is taking place, the bigger story yesterday was Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner, who had that Nazi tattoo on his chest, suspends campaign after sexual assault allegation. And all the people that endorsed him came out and said, I rescind my endorsement. I rescind my endorsement. But after being accused by an ex-girlfriend of sexual assault, Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner announced that he is suspending his campaign in a video posted on social media on Wednesday, in which he continued to deny the allegations and blasted the political establishment for derailing what he called the movement. In a video, Plattner, an oyster farmer and a military veteran, said he is suspending his campaign and will withdraw from the ballot in Maine Senate race, which has been one of the most closely watched in the country as Democrats seek to take back the Senate. What comes next needs to come from the people of Maine, Plattner said in a video, saying the replacement on the ballot should be done in an open, transparent way. We believe that for the movement to continue, it can't be me. For that reason, we are suspending campaign operations. Tom, how big of a deal is this?
This is a big deal. This was the only guy that they had because they're trying to go after Susan Collins. And what do we know about Susan Collins? Susan Collins in Maine has always been a thorn in the, and Adam has talked about her and talk about Lisa Murkowski, who have been the two women that have always been the thorn votes. Whenever there was something that got close to moderate on a bill, guess what? Those two votes on the Republican side used to walk across the aisle, and it drove the core Republicans nuts because they couldn't depend on it. So they're trying to go up against her. He polled well, and they said, hey, this is Maine. This isn't Memphis. We need a white guy, a rugged guy. We need someone who will get the independent voters. And then you had Elizabeth Warren up there going, what a guy. I loved her speech where she gave the endorsement of him, Pat. What a guy. And now that's going to live forever in infamy because she's going to see that in campaign ads over and over again. Yeah. And now they're looking for somebody else.
Yeah.
We need a rugged individualist here in Maine to go up against Susan Collins.
Yeah.
And they don't have this guy who turned out to be, oh my gosh, baggage.
But Tom, beyond baggage, it boggles my mind that the Democratic Party has spent almost 10 years saying Trump was a rapist and a Nazi. And when their own party has an actual rapist and a Nazi, they fight for him and they're cool with it. You know why? As long as he's going against a Republican. Adam, and I know you're laughing because it sounds funny, but it's true. You know what I realized yesterday because you mentioned his name? The Democratic Party has shown that it has some of the worst human beings on the planet, Pat. Scam artists, lying, rape, all that stuff. They're so bad that Hunter Biden, a crackhead who loves recording his sexual escapades, drug use, leaving stuff, he's somehow the most normal out of all of them right now. If you really think about it, he's funny, he's engaging. I like him out of all of them. But this is the thing, Pat. All this fake... Yeah. Oh, Adam, I can't wait for Pat to talk to him. But here's the thing. The gaslighting, this is the second time I've used that word on the podcast so people know. What changed? Graham Plattner was vetted like thoroughly. Donors sent millions and millions of dollars. Ro Khanna vouched for him. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. It was
what a guy.
They all overlooked it and they tried to rationalize the situation. So let me ask you guys this. What changed? What made them abandon the Plattner boat all of a sudden, okay? They gave him a pass to the Nazi tattoo. He's a self-described communist, fantasized about rape, Pat. The difference is, and here you go, the old accuser, the first one, I think it was Lindsay Fiffield, she was a conservative. They tried to be like, oh, she's doing this because of this. And the new girl, the only reason is because the new girl that came forward, she's a liberal. So they couldn't hide from it. So just to let you guys know, it's okay to the Dems if this guy rapes or sexually assaults, allegedly a conservative, and broke into somebody's house and raped her. When it's a liberal, they have to kick him out of the race. And it's the biggest hypocrisy. It's the party of degeneracy. And by the way, zero God. We mentioned this the other day. Name me one, Adam, any of you, anybody out there, a Democrat that is openly about their face about God and Christ. Good luck. Go ahead. None. Mina?
Talarico.
Who's that? Oh, yeah, that guy? Did you hear what he just said?
Is a gender
you know what he said yesterday?
Queer guy.
Bro, Alberto, put Talarico, what he said yesterday about...
Will say Talarico.
Oh, yeah. You know what he said yesterday about Muslims and Christianity, and it's the same. He basically said that we're the same. Just go to the quote. Make it bigger so I can see it. We don't have to hear it. I always think of all the world's faith traditions as a circle. With that divine mystery of the universe in the middle, we have different names for that mystery, whether it's God or Yahweh or Allah, Nirvana or Great Spirit, whatever you call it. This is the different pathways to the same fundamental truth. Full of it, 100% false prophet, false preaching, lying. No, it's not. Jesus Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And the only way, Adam, this is for everybody, to the Father is through me, Jesus Christ. That is it. I'm sorry. That guy's a fake, Pat, and he's a fraud. If that's their guy, then they have another thing coming.
Here's what Elizabeth Warren said about Plattner in April. She said, Plattner is my kind of a man. No, literally, that's what she said. Okay?
Oh, my God.
Bernie Sanders said he would do everything he can to help Plattner becomes Maine's next senator before later withdrawing support after the allegations emerged. Now, remember, this is Warren and this is Sanders. And at the same time, Chuck Schumer, while Schumer had not been an early public endorser, he publicly called on Plattner to step aside after the allegations. So did Warren. She rescinded her endorsement. So did Sanders. So, I mean, this is a big story. Adam, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, this guy, Graham Plattner, is a total creep. Everybody knew he was a creep. Your mama knew he was a creep. Your daddy knew he was a creep. Everybody knew he was creeping. And America got the ick. You hear the girls be like, I don't know, he got the ick. Everybody was getting icked out of these people. And the Dems tried to basically creep him in the back door to be a senator for the United States government. Are you kidding me? So this, to me, Vinny kind of nailed a part of it. This is a new low when it comes to a set of standards of the candidates that could run for this new progressive wing of the party. And when you just say progressive, let's get real here. They're communists. Let's forget the progressive thing. They're communists. Maybe they're socialists, but somewhere they're there. But they vetted him. Vinny talked about they vetted him. They're like, Nazi tattoo. Yeah, we're good with that.
Check.
Communist populist ideology. Yep, that's our thing. Check. Sexual assault allegations. Yeah, well, it's okay. Actual grape. Well, was it a conservative or a liberal? It was a conservative. We'll let it go. Multiple grapes? Oh, liberal? Yeah. Okay, but a bad poll? Yeah, if he's not doing good in the polls, we got to get him out of here. We're going to basically reduce his funding. He's got to go. And obviously, he just had to drop out of the race. So Bernie Sanders, who this moral leader of the party, absolutely looks like trash
Let's
now.
go to the next
Elizabeth Warren looks like trash.
Yeah.
But the good news is here, the silver lining here is the Republicans are going to keep control of the Senate. Still remains to be seen what's going to happen in the House. But this is good news for all of America today.
Meanwhile, while this is happening, the previous California governor who ran against DeSantis, and he almost won, 34,000 votes. He almost won the first time around. He got arrested for drug possession in Alabama. I don't know if you guys saw the story or not.
You don't say.
TMZ posted this, and I don't want to spend more than 3 minutes on this. So this guy who almost beat, by the way, thank God for DeSantis, and thank God for President Trump's 2 or 3 tweets endorsing DeSantis to help DeSantis win the first time. The first time DeSantis won, Trump helped him out. The second time DeSantis won, it was on him by winning 1.5 million votes. But this was it. By the way, Florida, this was almost your governor. Democratic governor nominee Andrew Gillum facing felony charge after drug arrest. Go a little bit lower if you can. Okay, zoom in a little bit if you could. Andrew Gillum's legal troubles just escalated. The man who narrowly lost to DeSantis in 2018 race has now been formally charged following his Alabama arrest. Newly filed court records show he's facing 1 felony, 2 misdemeanor counts. Go a little bit lower. According to the criminal complaint obtained by TMZ, Gillum is charged with felony possession of controlled substance, specifically methamphetamine, along with misdemeanor possession of marijuana for personal use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Prosecutors allege the offense occurred July 2nd in Baldwin County, Alabama. Go a little bit lower. And the TMZ reported Gillum was arrested last week on Highway 98 near Walmart Drive in Daphne, where cops say they found 3 grams of methamphetamine, 8 pre-rolled marijuana joints, 4 cut straws, 3 pipes, and a bong. Oh my goodness, this guy's a pro.
Jesus.
Bong after pulling him over for alleged driving erratically. Tom, how do you react to this story?
Well, actually, how do I react? It's like you're not surprised because we have seen, we the people, the public, forget about partisanship. We have seen Andrew Gillum on an absolute downward slide, and this is a guy who apparently, is showing signs of, is he personally addicted? Does he have deep problems? Whatever it is, he was nearly governor, found in a hotel room sorry to say for people, it's breakfast, in a pool of his own vomit, unconscious, unresponsive to the police, with a male escort and drugs, and.
Yeah, he was there was a dude in there with him.
Yeah.
Oh, so he
might be in the
Maybe.
community.
We don't know.
Allegedly. We don't
He likes
know.
to have a good time, Pat.
Yeah.
But
I know a couple of the
gentleman
people in
that was in
government
the when the police came into the hotel and found him in that puddle of hot mess and everything else. The occupation of the other individual that was arrested was male escort.
Well, there's a lot of senators
all
and
we
stuff
know.
that go into hotels.
That's all we know. But the point is,
Larry Sinclair.
March 2020, Gillum was found Miami Beach police in a hotel room with 2 other men after emergency resources were called for suspected drug overdose. One of them, Travis Dyson, was widely identified subsequently reported as a male escort. What?
Yeah. And so the point is, this guy has been on downhill. So a guy that's going so downhill, is it unusual to find him pulled over, apparently driving erratically? And why is he driving erratically? 8 joints of bong, a pipe, cut straws, and some other stuff, some meth.
Close.
It's like, it's not surprising to me. And this is a guy that needs help. And
Adam,
I'm glad
30
he didn't
seconds.
end up in our leadership.
Well, thank God for Donald Trump, because a lot of people think that Donald Trump saved the United States. I can tell you this conclusively. Trump saved Florida. Because, Pat, you always say elections have consequences. If this guy would have won, Florida could have been what's going on in New York, California, LA, Chicago, any of these states. Thank God he got DeSantis elected. Thank God DeSantis has become the greatest governor in the history of Florida, maybe in America right now. And to continue his legacy, hopefully we'll have Byron Donalds out there. And because of Trump and because of DeSantis, the future looks super bright here in Florida. So thank you, DeSantis.
So let's go to the next story. So We hosted the first Florida gubernatorial debate that all the candidates from Jay Collins to Paul Renner to James Fishback all agreed to this debate. And yesterday, my guy sent me an article that was written by Florida GOP, which I was a little bit surprised by. And so this story was written talking about, how others, let me read this to you, and you tell me how you take your Republican Party of Florida clarifies debate report. This is July 7th. Humberto, if you can zoom in a little bit, thank you. Go a little bit lower right there. To be clear, the Republican Party of Florida has not sanctioned or agreed to any debates in statewide races. Any discussions that have taken place were explicitly focused on post-primary negotiations to be conducted with our nominees, their campaigns. And then we look forward to, is this the one? It is unfortunate. Okay, there it is. It is unfortunate that a collection of political interest groups and media outlets have attempted to hijack this process for their own publicity and unilaterally dictate the terms to the candidates. Hijack? For their own publicity? I don't like the way this was written. So I responded, and I said the following on Twitter. If you can go to my Twitter account and pull it up, if you want to go to the tweet and pull up what I said. So I pulled up, and I said this last night, and I tagged the chairman of Florida GOP because I was a little bit confused. If you can zoom into right there. If you make that a little bit bigger so we can read it. So I said, hey, Florida GOP and Evan Power. Evan Power happens to be the chairman of the Florida GP. I just saw a statement by the Florida GOP regarding the gubernatorial debate we held. It is unfortunate that a collection of political interest groups, same thing I read to you earlier, hijack. That is not how this works. And I said, for their own publicity, what a weak position. What is your priority, Florida GOP or Florida voters, or the Florida voters? Maybe you move too slow. Maybe times have changed. Maybe you ought to make the voter the priority, not you losing control of the GOP in Florida. Maybe you're not aware of how annoyed Florida voters are with you. By the way, why did the candidates agree to do the debate? I personally spoke with every candidate, including Byron Donalds, who chose not to participate due to the lead he has in the polls. All participants agreed to the terms. I don't appreciate this lazy statement by the party. A simple thank you would do. Very disappointed. So now, he responds back on the bottom. If you can zoom in a little bit on what he said, you should read the release. It was about announced general election debates that were not agreed to before the primary. And I said, really? Then what debate were you referring to? And if you go a little bit lower, Sarah Adams right there also responds and says, good, you called out the game. They want a coronation, forgetting we don't do the BS in Florida. And then there's a bunch of other people. So then I came back. Tom and I were having a conversation yesterday. And if you can go back to the next tweet, because DeSantis tweets something out of nowhere, which I said, I agree. I'm like, good for DeSantis. Can you zoom in into DeSantis' tweet, which is retweeting a Paul Renner thing? He said the state GOP has no authority to refuse debates. He's calling out Florida GOP and Evan. Having a debate on Fox News or other widely distributed channels would be a win for the voters. And I said, I agree. So then you can come back and see what we said next. The next thing I said is, an independent, credible polling organization should conduct a survey to measure where Florida voters currently stand. If you can zoom in a little bit more. Ideally, it would be conducted by an established pollster with a demonstrated record of methodology,
sir.
I was trying to say methodology, rigor, and impartiality. I can think of a few with 41 days remaining until the primary updated polling would provide voters and observers with current data on the state of the race. Voters are the customers, not your favorite candidate or a friend. Florida voters, right? And so a bunch of people messaged. And I think there's going to be probably a poll. We'd like to know where people stand. It seems like they want to go as quickly to the general election as possible. But look, Florida people, conservatives are very, very annoyed with the Florida GOP. Tom, where are you at with this? Because I know we had a lot of weird calls last night with some interesting people. What do you say? By the way,
I think some people say you kicked the hornet nest. No, we didn't kick the hornet nest. We kicked progress. And what we did is we have kicked open the door of transparency. All we did, other widely distributed channels. Well, guess what? Get used to it. That's where new media is. And if we are an other widely distributed channel, according to Ron DeSantis, then thank you very much, Governor. And there's some people that called us last night. I can't say anything out loud, But you go look at these comments. There was also a lot of Florida voters that got a lot of likes, and people that were, organizers in West Palm Beach and things who said, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I thought it was a great debate. I thought it was great what the people got to see. You didn't see a bunch of cursing and swearing. We saw Florida voters and leadership out there talking about that this was good, that for two things: all the candidates to be seen on stage and all the candidates to be heard for who they are. We're not taking any sides here. We want the voter to take the sides in the ballot box.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like, comments like that. And you just have to realize times are changing. Disruptors are here. The model has changed. We knew the debating model was going to change. And, the amount of compliments we got as the best debate done for people to see both fun, entertaining, and the guy's position. And you know what ended up happening? Nobody knew who Paul Renner was. All of a sudden, people are like, I like this Paul Renner guy. Who was Paul Renner?
I didn't.
And it's like, oh, wow. Wait, Jay Collins is more tied with what the prices are in Florida than the other two candidates. That was good for Jay. And then James Fishback, they're like, hey, I like what this young guy has to say. Very clear, very good delivery. Let the audience decide. Maybe you don't like Fishback. Maybe you don't like Collins. Maybe you don't like Renner. But you like somebody, and you're like, hey, now I got some options. And if they run this poll and it shows double digits for others, Byron Donalds has committed. He gave his word. He will debate if anybody else hits double digits, and let's see if he's going to keep his word. I think he will. And, whoever decides to, whatever decides to happen next, if they do, it's unfair for Florida voters to not get a real debate. And I fully agree with DeSantis in this situation here. So let me go to the next story. Next story I want to get to is Marco Rubio said something, which is, I wonder how I want to run a poll on this because I want to get your reaction as well. Marco Rubio comes out, and announcement was made, I want to say yesterday, that moving forward, passport pictures you can do online. You no longer need to go to CVS, Walgreens, or UPS to get your pictures. You can simply upload the pictures from the computer on your passport. Right there, Rubio plans to allow users to upload passport photos using their phones or computers. Okay? Here very soon. How do you feel about that, Vinny? What do you think about that?
I mean, is
there anything there that's concerning, or do you like it?
I mean, two things, Pat. If the technology is up to par where it's like you, I'm just curious, how are they going to prove that it's you, especially when it comes to international travel? We have enough problems with this country with people IDs to vote and all this stuff. This is passport. This is international travel. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the technology is going to be and how they're going to absolutely prove this is me on my phone sending this to you, and what system they're going to use. Because other than that, I don't know. It sounds kind of weird. Because we have to go right now. You have to. I went last week with Humberto, Pat. You still have to go in there. A guy has to come around, put you in front of a screen, take a photo. You can't wear a freaking white shirt, and have to take it and print it, and you'd give it to you, and you have to send it in. The system needs updating, but I'm very curious to see what this one's going to be.
Well, I think there's going to be a high correlation. I'll tell you why. Your face and likeness are tied to your ID on multiple photographs every time you go through TSA at an airport. Because about half of the TSA have a photo screen right there where you look in. You don't even have to scan your boarding pass. You go, like you say, you have clear. You look into the window and they say, yep, this is Tom. You then look at your boarding pass once. Now you're all the way through. And when you walk to TSA, you look there and they say identity confirmed. So people that travel, even if you only travel twice a year, you went and saw your friend at spring break and you went and saw your mom at Thanksgiving, you are probably already in federal databases with your ID that was used to travel commercially. And so a lot of that can be correlated. The devil's in the details, but I think that this is great because it limits the federal bureaucracy a little bit, makes it quicker to update a passport. I know this is a short story, but I won't go into it. But we went through 27 hours of sheer hell when Pat's passport was 179 days from expiring, and he was going to Greece and Italy on a sales recognition trip for our previous company. And they're like, I'm sorry, you're at 180 days or something. We're like, what? You're like 1 day. He had to go to LA. He had to go to this one office. He had to get there at 7 a.m. The bureaucracy
So
was
you're for
incredible,
this.
but you held a valid passport.
So you like this idea?
I like this idea because I think that the devil's in the details, that there is going to be already correlation with the TSA travel. What's a passport for? Travel, mostly.
Yes.
But now I think the database is going to be used to correlate to ensure who's who.
The people that are voting, it's 50-50 saying yay, nay.
Yeah, so it's right in the middle.
Supports us right in the middle, which by the way, anytime it's 50-50, it's okay. It's not something that, Adam, where are you at with this?
I'm with Rubio on this. I would love to see the ability to do things from your phone with your two-factor authentication on your phone, whether it's passport, whether it's voting, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, listen, what Rubio has that I don't think a lot of other politicians have is he has trust, he has credibility, and he has the authority. So when he says, hey, I think we're going to do this, I think my gut instinct, and I think a lot of people's gut instinct is like, yeah, I'm with Rubio on this. Because I'm not saying he's perfect, but damn, is this guy good.
Yeah,
so salute to you, Rubio.
Ken Griffin just came out and he said if you had to choose between Rubio and Vance, Ken Griffin is choosing Rubio, is what he just said yesterday. Okay, Ken Griffin.
And he's worth how many billion?
He's worth $30-40 billion. He's got some money. He's got some money.
He's the Chicago to New York to Miami Citadel CEO.
So we'll see. We'll see what happened there. Next story I want to get into is the story of New York City schools. Very weird. 900 New York City schools failing students amid great inflation, lacks accountability, and a New York City school accused of targeting teachers who blew the whistle on grade inflation. What's grade inflation? Some people may ask. Grade inflation? I've never heard of grade inflation before. Well, let me read it to you what grade inflation is. So this is a tenured teacher, English teacher at Information Technology High School in Queens has filed a lawsuit alleging schools administrators retaliated against her after she exposed what she describes as a pattern of grade manipulation and improper placement of students in advanced placement classes. Susan Muzaffar alleges administrators changed a student's failing AP English grade to a passing one without notifying her. Despite union rules requiring teachers to be informed of grade changes, the lawsuit claims that the incident reflects a broader practice of enrollment unqualified students in AP classes and awarding unearned passing grades. According to the complaint, the student failed the course after earning low scores throughout the year and also failed a week-long boot camp Muzaffar offered as a final opportunity to complete missing work. After she entered a failing grade, an unidentified administrator allegedly accused her electronic grade book more than 40 times before changing the grade. Muzaffar reported her concerns internally and to the College Board and New York City Special Commissioner of School Investigators. She alleges the school then retaliated by issuing disciplinary letters, removing her from leadership assignments that provided additional income, and giving her poor performance evaluations. The lawsuit also claims Principal James Woods Powell accused Muzaffar of curving grades during a meeting in March of 2026, triggering a panic attack that forced her to leave work. Tom, why is this a big story?
This is a big story because let me tell you how grade inflation works. Okay. Vinny.
Uh-oh.
Hey, we need to get... No, Vinny.
Love you, Vinny.
Well, let me get my pen, Pat.
No.
Some quick math for you, Vinny.
No. Vinny, listen. The state gives us money for every student that passes.
Okay.
We can't have students failing
because
it lists us as a school that doesn't pass kids. We can't do that here in New York.
Okay.
And so you're asking me, what do we do about it?
What do we do, Tom?
Listen, we just got to give them the grades. And even if they're not qualified, slip them into an AP. They'll get like...
Tom, but they're really dumb. They're really
That's okay.
dumb. I asked the girl 2 + 2 and she said chicken.
Do you know what? then give her an A in biology.
Okay.
So basically what we do is we're going to pass these kids through.
All right.
And then guess what happens? The state issues the standardized test. The standardized tests are given once a year, twice a year in class. But guess what, Vinny? Those grades go to the state and they go to nationally. It doesn't affect the grade book or just promoting the kids the next grade level. Let's just do it.
Okay.
You say, but what about the kids for college? That's not our problem. Let them go take the SAT and get a 1,000 on the SAT. That's after us. But we need to get the money per kid. I'm not dealing with this. These kids have issues at home. It's not my problem. Let's just inflate the grades, send them through the system. And then they take the standardized tests, and the standardized test, New York drops from 21st to 28th place. But that's the local schools. They don't care. They have their tax money, and the union protects the teachers' jobs. The teachers keep working and keep getting their raises, and there's good teachers in there trying to make a difference, like this one who gets her butt kicked by the administration, trying to do the right thing and saying, let's make sure the kids are ready to take standardized tests. Let's make sure they're ready to take, the ACT, the SAT. Let's make sure they're ready for tomorrow. And they're like, stop, back off. You know what, Pat? This was happening 22 years ago at LA Unified, and Kim was still working there. She left LA Unified 22 years ago, right before she got pregnant with Bailey, who's 20 years old now. And this has been going on for a while. Pass them through the system and let the standardized test, whatever. Pass them through the system, and you can't move the union, you can't move their leadership, and the losers are the kids.
The losers are the kids, yeah. And by the way, this goes to a story which I almost couldn't believe it at first when I saw the story. Tell me how dumb of an idea this is, or maybe you may say this is a great idea. So in California, activists are proposing for California to have a class. Which page is that on, by the way? The activist
is this
story in California. Is it addendum? This is going to be one of the weirdest stories
addendum
you're going to hear.
15, I think.
Where you're going to say there's no way this is true, but it is true. Let me read it to you. Activists demand Black English be pushed on kids in California preschools.
Preschools?
What?
Learning to talk.
What is Black English? What is Black English to be pushed? By the way, how racist is this?
It's kind of...
I mean, I'm really trying to see, like, what angle do you want to take with this? Let me read it to you. Activists are pushing Black English to be legitimized in preschools as a way to build children's literacy skills in California. Black Californians United for Early Care and Education is part of a movement challenging harmful language hierarchies and affirm Black language as a legitimate, rule-governed language rooted in Black history, culture, and community. The movement also seeks to address how language bias shows up in early learning spaces and how it can be dismantled. I don't want my son to walk around in any room and feel like his voice is not valued or his perspective cannot be heard because he is not saying it one way or the other. Black East co-founder Ashley Williams told PBS she also remembered how speaking Black English is full of slangs and grammatical errors, so it came with a lot of embarrassment. So learn to speak like I used to speak English. You know, I'm still learning English till today,
It's
right?
all good. It's all
English is
good.
my fifth language. But can you imagine? It's like, no, it's your fault, listeners, for my bad English. It's not my fault. Allow me to speak Assyrian, Armenian, Farsi, German, English as a fifth language. You know, you need to adjust to me, not me adjust to you. It's a little weird. Tom, how ridiculous of a story is this?
Well, I think this is beyond ridiculous. This is setting kids back. And we can make all the jokes about it, okay, now I understand why preschoolers in California walk up to me and say honky cracker redneck. People make the jokes about it. But this is setting kids back. You're setting kids back who are just learning regular English. Every kid that comes to America, and by the way, we can talk about this for a while. Have you met kids from India that went to IIT and then they come over here? Some of them speak English with a British accent and speak better English than we do. More enunciated, appropriate, with a wider vocabulary. And now you're telling me you want to take a preschooler and basically allow them to speak in slangs and colloquials and then run them through the system. And now they're going to say, wow, going to get a job and at age 16, and you need to communicate with everybody that comes through there, including, the people from Mexico and California that are trying to learn English so that they can go do things. It just really frustrates me, Pat. It's like these are activists looking for something to do.
What is Black English, though, Tom? What is Black English? Like, okay, so I just asked, can you ask ChatGPT what is Black English and what the activists are saying?
Was it also called Ebonics?
Here's what it says. Black English is a variety of English that developed with African-American communities over hundreds of years. Linguists generally describe it as rule-governed dialect with its own grammatical vocabulary, pronunciation patterns, and history. So, for example, examples of features often associated with AAE. You know what AAE is? AAE is African American Vernacular English. Okay, here we go. He be working. Now that's what it says. This is ChatGPT saying it. Don't get upset at me.
Double negative.
In AAE, be can indicate a repeated or habitual action like he regularly works. Number 2, she been finished.
I love finna.
That's what ChatGPT is telling me. She been finished. Can mean she finished something a long time ago and results still matters. They my friends. They my friends.
So
Not
save
they're my
time by
friends.
eliminating
This
prepositions.
ChatGPT is very racist today, or it's like they my friends. AAE may omit the verb are in some context. Standard English is they are my friends, but they my friends. She been finished. He be working. Vocabulary and expressions are entered mainstream culture like lit, woke, finna.
Love
Finna spelled F-I-N-N-A.
I'm finna bounce.
Yeah. Bay. I don't even know what bay is.
Hey, baby.
I'll tell you, bae. That's like your lady.
Okay.
My bae.
Shade.
bae.
Shade. Okay. If you want me, if audience wants to keep learning, I can keep teaching because I got a lot of stuff here that I can go through. But I pause because at one point this could be an online course that somebody can put up, and
Good grief.
who knows? Maybe the right audience. He be working. Some of these.
He be working. You better work.
This is serious stuff.
Can I be real
Is
with you
this a
people?
joke or is this real? Like,
Can I-
I remember
This
when I
is-
first came to the States, I had a hard time saying government. They put a freaking N in there.
For no reason.
I had a hard time saying Gilligan's Island because that's the show we would watch. Gilligan's Island. It was Gilligan's
Lasagna.
and then what was it? Wednesday. It was Wednesday.
Yeah, why-
Take the freaking N out.
Yeah, for no reason.
Then- or I
You used to
think-
watch Gilligan's Island?
yeah, Gilligan's Island.
Did you ever have a little buddy?
What do you mean?
The skipper? You always
Skipper,
called
yeah, yeah.
Gilligan the
30
little
years
buddy?
ago. 30 years ago. So, I don't know. Do you take the story seriously, or is this just like this is a real story, New York Post apparently.
Can I be real, PB
What's
Dizzle?
that?
Hope not, Pat.
I ain't tripping about this story, fam. Everybody want to be arguing. California got 99 problems and black English ain't one.
Well,
it's the
We can
homelessness.
joke about it, but
No,
I don't
I'm
think
going to
it's
joke
a-
about it. But
I don't
Tom,
think it's a
hold on.
joke.
We're talking
I don't
about
think it's funny,
preschoolers.
Vinny.
Like, we're talking about preschoolers. Like, a preschooler, let him,
They
like,
my
hey, I'm
friends.
finna take a nap, biatch. You don't want a preschool kid talking like that. And, like here's the thing. It's
a little offensive what you're
California.
saying right now.
Well, guess what? Then stop trying to change the English language. Then here's my thing. Are you going to test them on the black English part, and then are other kids going to get in trouble because they don't understand what they're saying?
What
it's
if
so
he-
stupid for California. But this is California. I'm not surprised, Pat. I'm not surprised that this
Can
is
I
what
tell you
California-
something?
I'm about to light up.
I bet you 80-90% of African Americans are offended by this story.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I can tell you 80
What do you mean,
plus
no?
percent are offended by this story.
Adam, you don't
Oh, you
think
mean like offended that they're going to be teaching black English in school?
Yeah, like what
Yeah,
are you
I
talking
agree with
about?
that.
The hell are you talking
freaking
about?
insulting me like this is,
Yeah.
what they're talking about. Adam, any thoughts on this?
I mean, this is just double M, double dumb dumb. I mean, anyone who, if you're raising a child, you want your child to speak English in America and be accomplished and actually be taken seriously. No wonder so many parents are putting their kids in private school or homeschooling. Because if this is the story coming out of preschools, public preschools, Lord have mercy. So I don't think it should be an issue to say English is the law of the land, not black English, not Ebonics, not anything like that. The national anthem is the anthem of the land, not the black national anthem. The Constitution is the law of the land, not Sharia law. Sorry, Mamdani. Respect the flag, salute the flag, don't disrespect the flag. These are basic things, guys. Let's get it together, huh?
All right, let's go to the next story. Next story I want to get into is European cars. If you guys haven't seen the story, it's a little weird story that's going viral. Is European cars now must track drivers' eye movement in the name of safety. Do you have a video on this? Do you have a clip on this? European cars now must track drivers' eye movement in the name of safety. So imagine you're driving a car and there's a camera that's watching you to see if you're falling asleep or not. Or maybe you're on your phone.
And where's it going? And where's
this report goes to them. It became mandatory on Tuesday.
What?
For citizens of the EU's 27 member states to allow their cars to track their movements using AI. The European Union's general safety regulation mandated advanced driver distraction warning systems that track drivers' body movements, such as eye and head movements, in every new vehicle sold after July 7, according to Access Newswire. This is a driver support system. Martin Krantz, CEO and founder of Swedish AI company Smart, I told the Daily Caller News Foundation in an interview, it's a life-saving technology. It really helps to prevent accidents. It's probably going to be just like with the seatbelt and the airbag. Smart Eye is one of the leading suppliers of eye tracking and driver monitoring AI that is compliant and with ADW systems, this tracking has quite a high accuracy. So if you sit in your car and you're driving your car and the speedometer, and then you look at the speedometer, then what happens is that tracking realizes that this is the speedometer that you're looking at, and then you're allowed to take your eyes away from the road for a certain time period. Let's say, for example, 2 seconds. You have a time that you can spend on different objects in your car. Cell phone use while driving is a forbidden thing to do in most jurisdictions. Then it can warn immediately, keep your eyes on the road. Basically, it's actually illegal to do that, he told the DCNF. And then if you, for example, spend time on the navigation display or on the radio, that's also allowed, but not for too long. Eventually, it will tell you to move your back attention on the road. You have different distraction limits. They have a distraction limits on the speed. No one's going to call the authorities, and no one's going to tell you and send along to the police or anything like that, but it's going to be different for different car makers. Tom, I don't know about this. How do you feel about this?
A lot of cars already have it. Mercedes already had it. Even on their lowest basic, the Mercedes C's and the ones, they've had it. And I think other manufacturers have had it. And they call it dozing or tiredness warning, or they go beep, 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 driver alertness warning. Mercedes will do that.
So this doesn't bother you?
So, well, no, but I think what they're doing is they're mandating what has been a safety feature on many different cars, and it doesn't really bother me because I think it is a safety feature. Now then, however, if it ever goes from warning to insurance, that's where it's going to go, guys. That's where it's going to go. We're going to go from warning to insurance data the same way now that you can plug the little sensor in to your car, and it'll detect how often you're over the speed limit, how fast you brake, how hard you brake, how fast you accelerate, all of that to determine your crash risk so that you can be underwritten.
Are you for this? You think this is good?
I'm against the legislation, but I like the feature in more cars because like early tension on seatbelts, the early braking or the beep beep and your car hits the brakes a little bit, that saves lives. And I think those features are good. But what concerns me is the full loop here, Pat. This will go to law enforcement. This will ultimately go to insurance. And then it's going to be, well, wait a minute. If I have a good driving record, yet you think I've looked down too many times, you're going to re-rate me? Now I got a problem with it.
Well, that is going to happen.
I know.
It's eventually going to lead into that. And by the way, if they're watching, do you think they're also listening?
Absolutely. At 100%.
You think so?
Pat, I love that you brought that up. If you don't, it started in the streets with the cameras. Now it's in your car. They're lit. And where are they sending that all the time? You made a great point. They're sharing it with all their government agencies to find out who you are. I get the same, but that's how they sell you. They sell you with safety. It's in the street. It's in your car.
Or the children.
It's in your house. It's over here. And next thing you know, it's going to be China. China, you walk around, Pat, and if your face and they'll grab your face and they'll charge you for a ticket, and they're having so many freaking problems over there because it's surveillance state to the T. I don't like it because you don't know who the hell's taking this information and what they're doing it. Going back to your point, the airport, Tom, that face scan, you could deny that. That's not mandatory. Every single time I go to the airport and they ask for that thing, I go, I don't want that. They go, oh, okay, then go around. You're willingly giving them this data every time. So when it comes to this, no, Pat, this is just another way we're like, no. It's for your crashing. And Jake made a good point. For texting and driving or sleeping, that's the way they come in. And then guess what? They have your face. They have everything. And they're listening to every single thing that you say. I don't like it. I don't want the government in my freaking car, in my house, in the street, wherever the hell I am, they're watching.
So let me ask you, do you think it'll get to a point, so let's just say they're listening, that if you go like this, they'll give you a red card and they'll take the
car stop. They go, you're saying something racist.
That was good, PBD.
Vinny, did you hear? Take the car, suspend it, and pound it.
Yeah. I'm going to sell small baseball mitts for people who are driving, so you can put it up in front of you like you're having a conference at the mound with the catcher. And you don't want,
or you mess with it. You just say,
yeah.
Like the Eddie Murphy, that one movie's in.
Yeah, what was that?
Moves the lips where you don't hear the words. Not Eddie Murphy. It's somebody else that's doing it. He'd be working. I'm trying to see which one it was.
Yeah, you invent some crazy language while you're driving.
Yeah.
Adam, what's he saying?
Adam, I really don't want to come to you with this story because you have no moral authority on this story.
Yeah, you don't even know what a car is.
I was just going to say, Pat, I was just gonna say this ain't my story. I'm gonna let the car
Thank
experts
you.
debate this. You guys got this.
Thank you.
Look, this isn't for you, buddy. You're gonna be okay.
This ain't for me.
Let me give you.
When
guys
an Uber story comes up, you know who to call. Okay.
Yeah, let me tell you this next story here with Planned Parenthood. Did you guys see this Planned Parenthood story or no?
I did not.
Okay, so Planned Parenthood story comes out. What page is this on? I thought I wrote it on a piece of paper on the bottom. Maybe I had it. You know what page that's on? There's a story on Planned Parenthood.
Do an addendum.
Do addendum, but what page on the addendum? Page 2. Check this out. Southern California Planned Parenthood says defunding damage will last for years to come. Daily News. They're really taking a hit with this, okay? Let me read it to you. Planned Parenthood affiliates in California can once again bill Medicaid and Medi-Cal for non-abortion health care services after 1 year federal defunding expired on 4th of July, but leaders say financial and operational damage will take years to reverse. The expiration of the federal defunding of Planned Parenthood is welcome news, but the damage it has done to our patients and providers will last for years, says Krista Hollinger, President and CEO of Planned Parenthood of Orange and San Bernardino counties. The 1 year defunding restrictions ended after congressional Republicans failed to extend it amid internal disagreements. During the ban, California affiliates were unable to receive federal reimbursement for services such as birth control, cancer screening, STI testing and treatment, gynecological care, and other healthcare provided stuff by Medicaid. The Orange County and San Bernardino affiliate laid off 81 employees and permanently closed its Melody Health primary care practice after losing Medicaid reimbursement. Hollinger said there are no plans to reopen the practice despite the funding restoration. Before the ban, Medicaid reimbursement accounted for roughly half of the affiliate's $100 million annual operations budget. More than 80% of the patients enrolled in Medi-Cal. Obviously, this changed statewide. More than 100 Planned Parenthood health centers lost access to the federal reimbursement, resulting in more than $300 million in loss of federal family planning funding and putting roughly $400 million in annual Medi-Cal revenue at risk. Other affiliates also faced major cutbacks. So this is a pretty big number here, Tom, on what happened. By the way, there's a entertainer, I don't know what her name is, she's kind of a big deal. What was the girl's name that said, I'm going to give 100% of my ticket sales to, what's her name, Olivia something? Olivia, what is it?
Rodrigo?
Olivia Rodrigo said she is given 100%. Olivia Rodrigo stands against Trump as she raises money for Planned Parenthood after defunding, and she's saying she's going to give 100% of her tickets to Planned Parenthood. Tom, how big of a story is this, Planned Parenthood in California?
This is a big story, and I have felt that amongst the services, they always like to list other services, but the preponderance of services that's offered by Planned Parenthood is abortions. And 40% of the abortions are African Americans, black children, and they are children. They are gifts from God against a population market share of like 15, 16, 14%. So how is it that some people, wonderful black Americans, are only 14, 15, 16% of the population, but they're 40% of the abortions? Planned Parenthood has been profiting off the enablement of a black genocide for decades, period. And when I see also, and you go back to this education story for a split second, and I see them that they want to teach like this, I see the hands of liberalism trying to keep the black population down. That's what I see. And it angers me. And I love it. Anything that interrupts Planned Parenthood, I'm in favor of. Because the origins of it, the racist origins of it, and to interrupt them in any way with what they're doing, and they're always going to come back. We provide health services, we do this, we do that. Maybe you do, but the majority of what you do and your reason to be in business is abortion.
Pat, I don't even want to add anything else because I think he's saying exactly right. And I think more people need to wake up to the fact that it's murdering babies, period, end of story. And that rock star girl, she's so proud of herself, Pat. So proud. I'm donating my ticket money, so people can kill their unborn baby.
Does she know if somebody shared the truth about Planned Parenthood? Think about in the liberal music industry, maybe no one shared the truth with her. Maybe someone needs to share the absolute gospel and the history of it. And maybe she comes back and says, wait a minute, I don't want to support that.
Well, let me just do this. Olivia, can you just connect Tom real quick?
Yes.
Connect Tom real
Please
quick.
do.
I'm going to set up a 15-minute call together. He'll break it down for you. He knows the history of this very well. Adam, thoughts?
I'm not anti-Planned Parenthood. I'm not pro-abortion whatsoever. I don't have a horse in this race. From the research I've done, I know they do a lot of other things: STD checking, birth control, cancer screenings. I think a vast majority of what they do may not be abortions, but a lot of people think and that Planned Parenthood is synonymous with abortions, and unfortunately that may be true. Find out the data, but I know they do a lot of things for women. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that all they do are abortions, which is horrible. Not condoning that whatsoever, but I have a feeling they do a lot of other things for women, not just abortions, but check the facts.
But Adam, I'm almost like, if you hear Planned Parenthood, that's where you go to kill your baby. I grew up on the East Coast. That's all. I knew girls that were in high school and stuff that would go. Well, it's not the reputation.
Right.
By the way, the giving away condoms and checking for STDs, yeah, congratulations. But that is the main. If you want a Big Mac, you go to freaking McDonald's. If you want to kill your freaking baby.
You can pull up what they do on ChatGPT, I'm sure.
No.
I remember looking at this years ago. I assumed that all they did was abortions. I turned out to be wrong. You could check the data. But I think they do a lot of other things.
Of course, but Adam, you know what overshadows all of it? Killing babies. Like, that's the number one thing. And it's Adam, it's millions and millions of freaking babies. And he made a great point that you know how much of the African American community, like the population would be bigger if it wasn't for them solely. We're talking about millions and millions and millions of more human beings. It's a horrible place.
You got to be careful with the if only. You got to be careful with the if only, because once upon a time, Union Carbide poisoned a lot of people in Bhopal. Oh, all those people died in Bhopal, India, because of Union Carbide. But Union Carbide does so much more. No, you look at what they're doing, and you look at the error of their ways.
This is their founder.
Margaret
Sanger founded the organization that eventually became Planned Parenthood in the early 20th century. She was pioneering advocate for legal birth control at a time where contraception was largely illegal. However, she also interacted with eugenics movement, which was influential among many academic scientists and reforming during the era. She spoke at conferences organized by eugenic groups, believed that some hereditary diseases and severe disabilities should not be passed on, argued that access to birth control could improve society by reducing poverty and improving maternal health, used language about fitness and unfitness that today is widely regarded as offensive and rooted in eugenic thinking. The Negro Project most frequently cited evidence in Sanger's Negro Project launched in 1939. The project aimed to expand access to birth control to predominantly black communities in the rural South. Critics argue it was an effort to reduce the black population. Supporters and many historians argue the opposite, that it sought to address high maternal mortality and poor access to health care by working with black physicians, nurses, and clergy. An often quoted line from one of Sanger's latter reads, "We do not want a war to get out, that we want to exterminate the Negro population."
Oh, and
it's the founder of Planned Parenthood.
FYI.
By the way, this is a liberal spin.
That's a hardcore liberal spin because, Tom, 1,000% liberal spin. She said what she was trying to do. She said she was trying to wipe people out. That's
in
eugenic.
2024, 2025, the Planned Parenthood affiliates reported providing 434,450 abortions during that period.
Do you know how many they do a day, roughly? 1,900 babies murdered every single day. To hell with the condoms and, okay, you have an STD, whatever, go to the clinic. 1,900 babies, Adam, are killed every day. Every day, almost 1,200 kids are murdered. Period, end of story.
Well, that's the story. That's the story. So if I'm trying to wrap up here with another story before we move on, let's go to the Sonny Hostin story.
Ugh.
So the view Sonny Hostin claims American flags make her feel unsafe. I don't know if you've seen this clip.
Well, she's living in the wrong country.
When she sees the American flag, and this is flags that we're talking about, she feels very unsafe. If you want to play this clip, go ahead.
And I said this on this show many, many years ago, because this is my 10th year on the show, and I said there are times when I walk into a community and I see American flags all over the community, and I suddenly feel unsafe because there is a section of this country that has co-opted the American
all white
flag,
women,
and they equate being an American or an American flag with white supremacy, and that should never be the symbol of white supremacy, but they have weaponized.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, the fact
that is the single dumbest thing I have ever heard, Pat, if I could jump in on this one. You're saying that the American flag is synonymous with white supremacy. Maybe if someone's waving the Confederate flag or a Nazi flag or maybe a weird tranny flag out there, then we can have this conversation. The American flag, which side is it on right here? Stop it, Sonny. Your brain has melted to the point where you think the American flag is a hate symbol. That's where you're at these days.
At first,
to me, it's so dumb.
Thought, because my ears, I thought she said American something else. I didn't think it was flag.
You thought it was missing the L? The only L that is going on here
at first
is Sonny Hostin.
Like, how was the LGBT community responding to this?
She was afraid of Richard Simmons.
But she was talking about flag, the American flag. Countries have flags. And by the way, when you see a house, you're driving in a community, and you see an American flag, what percentage of the time do you say that's a conservative family right there?
Oh, at this point, it's 100%, and it shouldn't be that chance. It should be 50-50.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Republican Party is synonymous with patriotism. The Democratic Party hates America.
When I see an American flag, I tell myself there's an 80% chance that's a conservative's house. Because conservatives are more willing to represent the flag than liberals are. It is so embarrassing. We're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not really that proud. I'm not really that proud when I see an American flag. Stop it, man. Just be proud of. And this is around 4th of July when you're saying this. And she knows better. And by the way, didn't they do something with her ancestry that they found out that her family owned slaves?
Pat, yes.
They did.
And she was like, oh my God, I didn't know that.
Her family were slave owners. And she was like, she's like, there's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. Which one is it, Sonny Hostin? She descends for slave owner. Go press play on this one. Listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
So how are you feeling?
I feel unsafe around you.
Al Gore has a book for you.
Actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living on the backs of others.
Changes the narrative.
Wow.
Your family were slave owners. Slave owners, right? So, I mean, you always have to show the two clips together. So your family, like the proper way to introduce her is the descendants of slave owners. Sonny Hostin, the descendants of slave owners. The descendants of slave owners. A descendant of a slave owner.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, just stop. Like, you know the part when you walk around like your crap don't stink, like you're better than everybody else and you know what's right and this holier than thou BS. Knock it off, buddy. Knock it off. And sport an American flag if you live in America. What are we showing, by the way? What is that, a house for sale?
That's her house. Oh.
What you can
Is
buy.
it a glass house by any chance?
Pat, in regard to your story about the mice and she might have slaves then, because if that's coming down from generation,
you're saying in the basement
she might have some slaves in the basement because of the mice situation.
I don't think she owns slaves.
Can I give you some data, PBD, because you alluded to this?
What's that?
I'm just going to give you some data. There was some recent polling out there. I think it was from Gallup. 93% of Republicans are extremely proud to be American. Only 1% of Republicans said they had little pride in America. Conversely, only 27% of Democrats and liberals are extremely proud to be American. And in fact, 36% have little pride to be an American. There's a problem on the left with patriotism, and it's not getting any better.
Yeah, that's
But you know what, Lee, and here's the thing, because that's all the and no wonder why so many of these middle-aged liberal women are just angry and bitter, because they're sitting home watching this disgusting show. Is just all negative, anti-man, anti-America, anti-everything. And the thing is, you love this place, with your $1 million houses and everything, and like it's as if, Pat, if I complain that much about this country, I would expect you, as my friend, all of you, to be like, Vinny, maybe you should leave. Maybe you should get, with all your money. No, Adam, I'm dead serious. Go somewhere where you're happy. You're clearly not happy here. Rosie O'Donnell at least had the bravery, I don't want to say the word, to leave. Yeah, she's coming back to make more money on the show, but just get the hell out of here. Nobody's holding you hostage.
They have
You're
no
not a
historical
slave here.
perspective.
Sonny hostage.
Yeah.
They have no historical perspective.
Let me go.
Hey,
to this.
PBD, I want
We'll
to
go
point out a
next.
fact for you. Do you remember when you debated all the kids on Jubilee and you found out how much it cost to renounce your citizenship? Do you remember the cost?
It was 25. They lowered it. They lowered it to $24.50.
It used to be
$2,400.
$2,400. Congratulations, everybody hates America. They've reduced the price to $450. Talk about save that money. If you want to leave the country, now's a great time to get a great deal on a one-way trip out of
Let's
here.
go to this next story. Do we want to do so? Let's go into the story with Charlie Kirk, the hearing right now that's taking place. One of the most chilling moments was when the judge flinches while watching Charlie Kirk's assassination footage. Have you seen this clip?
I didn't. I haven't.
Okay, so when you see the judge, he's seen, I don't know if he's seen it for the first time or he just saw it. It looks like he just saw it for the first time. Do you have that clip? I want to give you 6 facts about what's going on, a story that obviously I'm glad this is finally happening, where the stories are going to be covered and everyone's going to find out what's going on. But watch this clip here, Vinny. This is the judge seeing the shooting. Just look at his face, Tom. Take a look at this. Watch this. Go for it. Look at his face. Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Seeing it for the first time. Can you go back a little bit?
Ooh.
Unbelievable, man. When you see this, like, I mean, obviously, I remember the first time. You're like, don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Remember when we were at the event.
The vault.
And you're telling me don't look at it because I got to get back on the stage. And I'm like, this was a disturbing thing to see. 6 big revelations to come out from the Charlie Kirk murder preliminary hearing so far. Let me read this to you. Here on what we have. Okay, so number 1, surveillance footage. Previously unseen surveillance footage appears to show Tyler Robinson visiting Utah Valley University 4 times on September 10th. And into the early hours of September 11th, prosecutors say he scouted the campus, left to change clothes, and returned before fatally shooting Charlie Kirk, then came back again at around 12:30 a.m. The footage shows a man prosecutors identify as Robinson walking around campus, including on the roof of the Losey Center. Defense attorneys argue the video is too distant and unclear to prove he was carrying a rifle as he left the roof after the shooting. DNA evidence. Defense attorneys challenged the FBI's DNA analysis, questioning how the samples were processed and interpreted. FBI analyst Amanda Baker testifies his DNA recovered from the towel wrapped around the alleged murder weapon and from a screwdriver found on the roof matched Robinson and his roommate, Lance Twiggs. Robinson's accounted for about 95% of the DNA on the towel and 89% on the screwdriver, while Twiggs accounted for the remainder. Baker testified that an analytical methods used are standard forensics practice. Number 3, additional bullet found on the scene. Investigators found an unfired rifle cartridge on another building, but Agent David Hall testified it was traced to the police officer who was cycled his rifle during the response because the investigators determined the round was unrelated to the shooting. That location was not preserved as part of the crime scene. Number 4, Tyler Robinson seen limping around the campus. Surveillance footage also shows a man, prosecutors identify as Robinson, limping while walking toward the Lou Center. We've seen this clip. Number 5, UVU officer body cam dies on the roof of Losey Center. UVU University officer Chris Bagley testified that his body camera stopped recording just as he reached the rooftop, where investigators believe the shot was fired because the battery died. And last but not least, the judge visibly flinched, which we just showed, when faced with the video of Charlie Kirk's shot. Tom, your thoughts?
Well, I think we're getting more and more, as long as this isn't tampered with and this is straight, that there was a relationship apparently between the shooter and the shooter's boyfriend, and number 1. Number 2, we're seeing absolute evidence of an individual, not a member of the school, not a student there apparently, of the colloquial phrase is casing the joint. Mm-hmm. We're seeing that. And then we're also seeing in the walking to appear to be on the day of, walking in such a way that they say that is the way that people would walk wearing baggy hunting pants or whatever, concealing a weapon. But we're also seeing the horror of what the jury and the judge are being asked to preside over. No normal person can look at these descriptions and then the actual shooting with this is a judge Do you think this judge sees victim photos, autopsy photos from people that have been murdered? Of course he has, unfortunately. That's part of being a judge. We have a murder trial. Here's the body, here's the wounds. And then the coroner testifies to it and gives evidence. That's what I see. I see this really pointing toward, the single shooter and, continuing on that path. And then fair-minded people realizing just how horrific the injury was. And that's,
Vinny.
And I'm looking forward to, I'm not looking forward to like with glee, but I am looking forward to seeing more evidence so that this trial hopefully can give us a decision once and for all.
Listen, it's the main thing is finding out who killed our freaking friend Charlie Kirk. End of story, full stop. That's it. Him getting justice on finding out who did it. There's a bunch of unanswered questions. This thing just started on Monday. It's obviously going to take a while to get to the bottom of it. We have, I hope all the questions, Tom, because obviously it's defense and it's prosecution. The videos that they're trying to submit that's edited, I want unedited videos. What happened to the footage that they took from behind Charlie, that camera, and they took it and gave it to whoever? Digging up the crime scene after there was an assassination, kind of suspect. George Zinn, I hope that guy gets brought up. I don't know what his involvement is going to be. I'm not denying the fact that this Tyler Robinson was involved. I want everybody that was involved with this to face justice. Okay, his furry lover, more DNA from the furry lover on everything except more than him. The cop's body, Pat, as police officers, when you're done with your shift, you charge your freaking body cam. For his body cam just to shut off randomly at that moment when it's supposed to be picking up stuff, little suspect. But I want every answer. There's absolutely no way you could tell me, Vincent Oshana, that George Zinn, the bald fat guy that stood up right when Charlie was killed, waving a freaking a handkerchief with his pants down saying, "I'm the killer," didn't have forehand knowledge and he wasn't involved. That's my opinion. There's no way. That means there was more than one person. That means there was it was a plan and they were involved. If it's Tyler and it's solely him, I'm not buying it. I want everybody to go down that deserves it. Period.
Adam.
Well, to me, it's an open and shut case. Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and that's the end of it. You guys can go through the semantics of what's going to happen from here, but I believe that there's two people on trial. You got Tyler Robinson and the loon conspiracy theorists who still think there's something else going on.
So I'm a conspiracy theorist.
And I hate to break it to you guys. Vinny, allow me to finish, please. In my opinion, Tyler Robinson will be found guilty, and it won't be anybody else. It won't be Egyptian planes. It won't be the French Legion. It won't be Bibi Netanyahu. It'll be Tyler Robinson, because that's what happened. And the evidence will show that, and we'll see what happens, and we'll see what happens go there. For me, there's a couple winners and losers here at the end of the day. The big winner here is going to be Charlie's legacy, because we can just put this thing in this story, disgusting situation, to rest of what happened. TPUSA, Erica Kirk, Charlie's legacy, and the truth are all going to be the big winners here. The big losers here are the conspiracy theorists, the people who, I don't know if you know, but you know who I'm talking about. The people who are profiting of Charlie's death, telling lies, telling nonsensical, vile myth truths. You know who I'm talking about. So the big loser ultimately will be America, because we lost one of our greatest leaders and our greatest unifiers and synergists. And we've had, 6 to 9 months of ridiculous stories and accusations. When the truth will come out, it's Tyler Robinson. We know it's Tyler Robinson, and the truth will set you free. And the people who have been spouting lies, you're going to get everything you deserve eventually.
Adam, so this is the third day of the trial, and you've already wrapped up everything, that it was just him.
I said that's my opinion, Vinny.
No, you
just
said
like
you said
you gave an opinion about George Zinn.
You said
when we're
closed
talking
case.
about Tyler Robinson.
No. Hold on. Back up.
I believe
you said
that it's an open and closed case.
Okay,
you're
so
still
that's
going
your
down
opinion.
rabbit hole lane,
Adam, because
and that's fine.
Adam, because you are one of the people that just takes something and you just believe in its end of story. There is a trial. You don't know nothing about Adam. You just know what you're hearing online.
Okay.
Let the trial go out. Adam, because you don't care. Adam, can I finish? This is when you don't have a good point, you have nothing to defend, you have to talk over, which you constantly do, because you can't stop talking and listen for 2 seconds.
Go ahead.
Have you followed anything? Have you done any research? Have you even investigated anything? The digging of the freaking assassination, George Zinn. Do you know anything about any of these people? You can't sit there because you haven't.
No,
I know
this
you
is my
haven't.
first time
because
hearing the
you're
Charlie Kirk
automatically
story.
going.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because
Enlighten me what everyone hasn't been talking about
Because you
for 9
automatically
months. Go ahead,
go.
enlighten
You
me.
automatically go. Oh, these crazy. No, Adam. What about the people that just have regular questions?
Hey,
There's
Vinny,
a lot
why are
of
you
people.
getting so defensive?
No,
I
I'm
said
not.
conspiracy theorist.
No,
I didn't say your
no,
name.
No, you're saying
Why are you
anybody that's
getting defensive,
questioning.
buddy?
No, anybody that's questioning, and that's a mess,
I didn't
Adam.
say that.
Because you're
Do this.
lumping
Vinny,
in.
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Donald Trump Jr., best friends with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
15 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
Long time. He tweets a day ago. Fact, Tyler Robinson was on the Utah Valley University campus 4 times before the 10th and the early hours approximately 12:40 a.m. on September 11th. Major detail no one seems to be talking about. Tyler Robinson was not a student at UVU.
Yes.
How do you process that information?
That means he was doing what Tom was doing, casing, looking, trying to figure out how to kill Charlie. That's 100%. I agree with that.
So let's put this stuff on what you believe, because I think the audience kind of probably is going to want to know where you stand and where Adam stands.
Yeah.
With that fact, where do you put the percentage that Tyler Robinson is the killer of Charlie Kirk?
If with bullet forensics and everything, Pat.
No,
Angle,
just with this fact.
Oh,
let me just say the fact. He was on the campus 4 times between the 10th and the 11th, approximately 12:40 a.m. You know what 12:40 a.m. is? Past midnight.
Yes.
Okay. He's not a student there.
Mm-hmm.
What does this fact do to you?
Fact doing, he was 100% involved in the assassination.
Okay, what percentage do you put that he killed them?
Probably 90%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
what are we talking about?
No. So, but
Hold
this
on,
is the,
see?
by the way, this is the part that it's important to qualify for the audience.
Yeah.
So because Vinny, it comes across that 90% you believe it's not Tyler Robinson.
No,
That's not
okay.
what you're saying.
No.
What you're saying is, I want to make that additional 10% to 100%. That's all you're saying.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Then guess what? I think that's a very reasonable position.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, to me, this is why there's trials.
Yes.
You know, Adam, you have to also give a little bit of credibility to a guy gets up in the middle of it and says, I'm the shooter. Dude, what the hell is that? You can't, and then you know the chances of the guy being at their end of 9/11
and the Boston bombing.
And the Boston bombing, they put a number that's that 1 in 2 billion. Who is he? And then he was later on tied to some child porn. I don't know what it was.
They arrested him for child porn.
So to me, I think.
And then what happened to him?
He's in. Well, you tell me.
What the part of it is, this is why jumping to conclusion creates a lot of chaos and, you know, divides, confuses, all this other stuff. That's why for us, we've been kind of like, if you notice, we're not talking all this stuff with Charlie Kirk until we're going through the trial, because we're about to start learning and we want to learn for ourselves. That fact, right prior to that fact that we all learned, even Don Jr. said, I haven't been commenting on this because here's a guy that says, it's absolutely crazy that you're pushing this and you were friends. You know firearms, you've been hunting. This is a joke and you're effing sick. A guy says to Don Jr. Don Jr. respond back and says, or I wanted to see actual evidence before I opined on it.
Exactly.
Okay, prior to you getting that fact of him being there 4 times between September 10th and 11th, what percentage were you at that Tyler Robinson was the shooter? Prior to that. Say you don't know that fact.
If I don't know that he was there.
This was just released a couple days ago.
Probably 70%.
Oh, so 60%.
Yeah.
So this took you from 60 to 90.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
because
the
I'm
great
seeing the videos
but
and I'm seeing him
that's what's great
there.
about trials.
Yep.
Show us what's going on. Let's learn. And then let's close the chapter and let's celebrate the guy's life. Let's celebrate his greatness. Let's celebrate all the stuff he did instead of going, you know, XYZ with all this other stuff that's taking place. And by the way, the difference between now and, you know, what happened with John F. K. assassination, there's a lot more data, intel, tracking stuff that we can get today that we didn't have before. Yeah. You know, these cameras, seeing them moving around, we didn't have all this kind of stuff back in the days. What we have today. So God willing, we'll get to the bottom of it, because this became one of the stories in the conservative party that created a bit of a division. So I'm just glad these stories are coming out for the whole crew. Not everybody. I'm not expecting anybody, because some people need crisis to continue talking about it. But I'm just glad this is going on and this is taking place. Did you want to say any final words on this?
No, I thank you so, Pat, for clarifying it and just finding out. I think it was him. I want everybody else, if it was the George Zinn or whoever was involved, I don't think he did it by himself. I think he did it, but he definitely had a hand, either his lover or George Zinn. I think there was.
And by the way, they said that 85% of the
DNA on the
DNA
towel
was
him.
Yeah,
was the lover and
so,
the gun.
Yeah, and so that means who knows the involvement there, all the other stuff. Anyways, all in all, I'm just glad this is taking place. I trust our process of getting to the bottom of it. Hopefully more of this will happen for trust to go up, not trust to go down. Of course, with social media today, even if they showed everything and show proof, there's certain people that will still, no matter what, everything could be 100%. There's still some people that monetize from this continuing.
Of course.
There's some that will monetize from this continuing, but we need to unify around the idea of let's get the facts. Anyways, gang, another great podcast. Lots of stories we covered here with you. We will not be doing a podcast, obviously, tomorrow. We're at 2 days a week. The next one will be on next Monday. With that being said, have a great weekend. If you didn't get a chance to order the new Future Looks Bright golden hats, go to vtmerch.com, place your order. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order of the latest golden Future Looks Bright hat that came out, the new arrival, gold standard. Go to vtmerch.com. It's on the homepage. Place an order for yourself or a loved one. Take care, everybody. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.